My sister is trying to overstep my wedding. She won't acknowledge the boundaries I set.
Steal her husband.
I think my sister is trying to get me to remake her wedding day. I'm struggling on what boundaries I should set and how to set them. Should I actually confront her? Or maybe it's just not really that deep. Sorry, long stories of many events. By the way, this comes from Prejudice Yak 2620 on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So I feel like I should start with some backstory as to why I am upset. A couple years ago, my sister got married. She had the dream wedding she wanted. We are very much not the same person. She wanted a somewhat fancy wedding with all her friends and family, and I am happy that is what she did for her day. I showed up for all of her things she asked me to show as her maid of honor. We traveled to some boutiques she wanted to go to, even stayed overnight to go to it. We traveled to some boutiques she wanted to go to, even stayed overnight to go to it. I took vacation days to go to her destination bachelorette party for a full week and a half. Went to the cake tasting because she invited me, planned her a wedding shower, basically just a party for everyone, instead of a bridal shower. She wanted me to give a short speech at the wedding, so I did exactly that. I didn't tell any embarrassing stories about her, just that I am happy for her and her husband and the family they are creating for themselves. Now to where I am starting to feel frustrated. My fiance and I have been together for quite some time, and he finally popped the question. I am a pretty decisive person, coupled with the fact that my fiance and I have been talking about our dream wedding for 3-ish years now. We decided we are going to get married in the next 8 months, so we started booking all of our vendors immediately. Here is where things started to get interesting. All of my friends that are close to me know that I have always wanted a destination wedding. My fiance and I have bonded over our love to travel. So naturally, this is the first thing we booked, a small ceremony with just family at our dream destination. I don't want to say my vows in front of a ton of people, but we did invite our wedding party if they wanted to come use it as a vacation and share that memory with us. I was worried my mom would be upset, so I was afraid to break the news. But when I did, she was supportive. On the other hand, my sister was livid. She flipped out on me. I want to preface this by saying she has a 4-year-old. She texts me horrible things saying I'm selfish and that I just don't want her there. I tried to explain that that's not the case. It's just that this is what my fiance have been talking about for years. She told me that I should wait till her child is older, maybe 5 or 6 years old, so they can fly. I also know that she is trying to have another child at the end of this year, if not sooner. So I said, what if you get pregnant again? I can't put my life on hold for you. After that, she ignored me for a week, full ghost mode. But then she came around suddenly. Now she is all in and excited to go because her mother-in-law is coming to babysit. Yay! It doesn't end here though. After that was settled, my fiance and I started planning our reception for when we come back home. After selecting the reception venue with my parents, I started to reach out to vendors on the list of recommendations. My sister and I talk a lot on the phone, and I found myself having to justify the decisions I was making. For example, she would ask me how planning was going, and I would say, I talked to the florist from the wedding venue recommendations today. Then she would tell me I should use her florist from her wedding.
Shut up. Shut up. She's got like a caterer, florist, venue, everything. She's like, hey, I'm going to give you this person, but you're going to give me a fat like referral fee.
I sense that. That. She didn't just do this for the florist vendor either. She said the same for who I should pick for the hair and makeup, the food, the cake, the music, the photo booth, the photographers, and the most annoying one is that I should push my reception to the following year to have it at the same time of year that she got married many years ago at the venue she used because it was all cheaper. So she then looked into the price itself to confirm it. She literally is trying to get referral fees from all of these people. This is my conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
From everyone. And the reason why she wants her to push it is because they don't have like any availability until that time. So I stopped telling her what I was doing. I just started saying, yep, I'll look into that and get off the phone. The only thing we booked that was the same was the food and the bakery because they were on the list of recommendations and had the menu we wanted. This is important info for later. I told my fiance I was getting frustrated because I feel like my sister thinks I can't plan my own wedding. Also, I felt like she just wanted me to recreate her day. I don't really know if this is an overreaction because she may think she is just trying to be helpful, but really it just pushed me to book things that are different out of spite, just to make sure nothing is like hers. My fiance has been very supportive and a good listener when I need a vent, but this isn't the end of the drama. After all our vendors were locked in, I was thinking, great, That's over. She can't tell me her opinions anymore. Well, boy, was I wrong. It just started to the next thing. In chronological order, the next thing she started to bring up was a speech. There is the story of us growing up. It's not a horrifying story, but it's one that she always spins to make her seem right in the situation. Every time someone asks me in front of her about the wedding planning, she says, I'm going to tell the story at the wedding. If the person asks what the story is, she's eager to throw me right under the bus and tell her version of it. By the time of the wedding, everyone will know it anyway at this point. But when I asked her to please not, she responds with, I have a trapped audience, so I can do what I want. I wish I had more to say about the dress shopping experience. My friends heard more from her than I did, but won't tell me to not upset me. The small things I did have to nip in the butt was that she kept trying to pull dresses that had similar features to her dress.
Dude.
Or that she would pull things so far from my style that at one point I cried and had to have the shop assistant help me pull things instead. To sum this next part is going to sound a bit, I know, so feel free to have an opinion on that. I have 9 people in my party. All I want for my bachelorette party was to go somewhere where we could bar crawl or have a bonfire outside when we would come back from going out during the day. There were a couple of places I gave as suggestions on where to go. She picked the last one on the list of 4 spots, the last resort location. Fine, it was on my list, so I can't be too upset. Now remember, I went on a 1.5-week trip for her. Well, I got 1 weekend, Friday night to Saturday morning, because she didn't have the vacation days no longer. When I asked her if she cared if my other 8 people went maybe 1 extra day or 2 before that, she said she could just come for that weekend. The location was close, about an hour away. She booked the house for just the weekend, and that was that. At the bachelorette party, my sister trying to nag me to an escape room she wanted to do while we were there. Full disclosure, it's not that I hate them. I have done them and find them fun. It's just not something I wanted to do on my sort of weekend. Regardless, anytime she saw one, she would say, we should do it. Or my biggest ick is that we would say was, this weekend isn't about you or anything, so let me do the escape room. By the end of the weekend, I got the vibe she was hoping some people would agree with her and side with her so she could get her way. And to flashback to one of the previous selections of the story, she also told the embarrassing childhood story multiple times that weekend. Some of my friends caught on and started to just walk away from her. This is the last part. For cake testing 2 weekends ago, I invited her to cake testing since she invited me to hers. When looking at designs, my sister started pointing out that hers looked like for the day. When the lady started asking my fiance and I what our wedding colors are, my sister interrupted me to tell the lady, we may not have the same taste in cake, but she did pick the same wedding colors as I did.
Shut up. God,
She's trying to win in every way possible.
literally. I would just tell her to shut up.
Just shut up.
What the heck
Literally
is
shut up.
happening?
I'm actually really tired of this.
Right?
This sister's really annoying. Sister sucks.
Yeah.
It's not your wedding.
I shook it off and told the lady the colors. Then we moved on to the design questions. Again, my sister told her flower designs she had on her cake as if it was important. At this point, I think the lady was just as annoyed as I was because we looked dead into each other's eyes, and I was just told the poor woman I just wanted a simple flower design on top of it. That was it. And what's simple to us is that we go live every weekday at 3 p.m. PST. Just do what?
Tap her profile. This sister sucks. I guess that's hard for the wedding venue people. Also, stop taking her to all the things.
Yeah.
Who cares if
Well, she's
if
the
you
maid
went
of
on
honor.
hers? Good, fire her.
This is the most recent thing that has happened. I'm sorry for the longest post ever. I did rant a little, so I'm sorry if it's messy. I have just been sitting on these feelings. Usually every time I try to set a boundary with her or tell her she has upset me, she takes it as an attack. Then it spirals into somehow I am sensitive one and I'm reading into what she says. Because of this, I have been very reluctant to say anything to her. I'm looking for advice into how to handle this situation because so far, me not giving her any information hasn't worked. And every step of the way, I feel like she has gone to bring up her wedding or just tries to embarrass me. Thank you in advance for all the advice. And that is it.
I have advice.
What's that?
Shut up.
Shut up. Just
That's
shut
my advice.
up.
That's literally all my advice.
Stop
Literally.
yapping.
That's all I got.
At a certain point, OP is just being an a-hole to themselves by accepting all of this. You're kind
Yeah.
of ruining your own stuff, like your own party, your own planning.
You're bringing her to all of
You're
this.
bringing her to all of these things, and you know she's going to be doing it.
Yeah.
So, at a certain point, you get like, listen, you've overstepped your bounds. Yeah, maybe you invited me. I was just there to be helpful. You're overstepping your bounds and trying to control everything. No, honestly, I would be like, if you literally open your mouth about anything more, I'm going to remove you as maid of honor because this is stressing me out so much on my wedding day.
You take Ellie's advice.
I don't deserve it.
Yeah.
There we go.
Wild.
My twin sister has a history with my partner. Now she's trying to ban him from family events.
Sometimes you see what you like.
Sometimes you're seeing double. Backstory. I, 29 female, have known my now partner since I was young. He, now 30 male, was friends with my older brother. They are the same age. So he was around a lot. Him and I started seeing each other when I was 17 and he was 19. We were just fooling around and then developed feelings. My partner had, on one occasion, slept with my twin sister when we were 14 and him 16, taking her virginity. This was a very big, this is a very scratching opener. By the way, this comes from user Real Edition 524 on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, that was a very spicy opener. I'm sorry. What? Why are you going with the same guy that slept with your... okay. When my family found out about him and I was subsequently kicked out of home and moved to a different state. He and I broke up about 3 years later. After 8 years, we reconnected and have now been dating for over a year again, happily.
Nice.
My little brother is turning 21. I have been invited, and as per the invitee, partners and plus ones are welcome. I have since been told that my partner is unable to come because my sister will be there, and she has said, if he's going, I won't be there.
Ooh.
My mom has said that unless she reconsiders, he won't be attending.
Oh, dang.
Which, again, what happened?
Oh, we already know what happened.
I know what happened, but, like, we need more context here. For me to attend this party, it is an 18-hour drive, round trip, 9 there and 9 back. I only found out my partner isn't invited after asking mom if we could stay at the house. It was never specifically mentioned. The last time my partner and I saw my family, we stayed at the house. So this wasn't a far-fetched request. I simply asked to make sure there was space, to be honest. I asked my mom to ask my sister to reconsider. My sister is adamant on her position. She's under the impression that when him and I started dating, when I was 17, that he was also dating her at the same time.
No, you're not your sister. I mean, I know you guys do everything together, but not that.
Even finishing each other's sentences, which was not the case. I read the messages 12 years ago. We have offered to sit down and talk about this on many, many occasions throughout the years. I have asked her to reconsider and stated that if she doesn't reconsider, I will be not attending the party myself. Ultimatums. I don't feel safe doing the 18-hour drive alone, especially after a big drinking event. Don't drink. Or just don't drive. I also get panic attacks, and the last time I did a big drive alone, I had a panic attack in the bathroom, and the attendant was informed and checked on me. This was excruciatingly embarrassing and mortifying on so many levels. My family is aware of this instance and aware of how panic attacks affect me. My sister's solution to this was to suggest he drive with me for the 18 hours, drop me off, and come back in a few days to pick me up. No.
That's ridiculous.
That's ridiculous.
By the time you got back, he'd have to start
You
driving.
had to go back. I said, absolutely not. I'm not asking him to sit in the car with me for 18 hours as a chauffeur to say, see you in a few days, to drive me back. I find that incredibly rude and a disgusting way to treat someone. Very fair. Due to my sister's response, I've repeated again that if she doesn't reconsider, I will not be attending, and then I will have nothing to do with her and go no contact.
Ooh.
Again, she'll have to do nothing with me and any of my future children, vice versa, with my partner or not. She believes she could be around him for the sake of the children, but I will refuse. For context, my sister is engaged to be married, has 2 children on her own, and would be traveling 4 to 5 hours, at most 10-hour round trip, to attend the party. Also, as a general pattern for my family, partners, girlfriends/boyfriends, serious or not, have always been invited to events, no questions asked. Would I be the a-hole for not attending if she doesn't reconsider? There is an edit.
No. I don't know.
What is the animosity towards, so the twin sister,
boyfriend?
The boyfriend. Yeah, again, the twin sister, Opie's twin sister, had relations, per se,
very
with
young.
the boyfriend very young.
She still might be upset about that.
She still might, 100%.
That's all I'm getting, unless there's more. Because if there's more, this would make more sense.
Like, is she upset? Did he do something that was really bad? We don't know. I need to know context of why she doesn't like the boyfriend, because it seems like things got settled.
If I was OP, I'd probably...
Is it weird? Yeah.
Yeah. And it happened before, like he was able to go there before, but now he's not, so something new may have happened.
Yeah. And
I would get more information.
I want more information, especially the sister has already 2 kids, is married. There's got to be something with this boyfriend. I mean, there's a past.
She probably has already moved on.
There was a past, but it seems like now everything got okay, but now it's bad. I want to know what did the boyfriend do? Also, that's very weird. Twins?
Oh, yeah.
Yikes. Edit. I'm not making excuses up for what I did when I was 17. Yes, I understand getting in a relationship with him was a betrayal. I had worked on reconnecting a relationship with her, which was going positively. He also has had a conversation with her via Messenger apologizing.
Okay.
You see, it was only after we got back together that this is an issue. Okay. Edit 2. Consent and age of consent, SA. She was, again, that's the OP stating. She was 14 and he was 16. Age of consent here is 16. Statutory rape is not applicable. 2 years age gap at that age, where the older is not in a position of authority. He was not in a position of authority in our lives. It was consensual and voluntary between the two of them.
Okay. So that's illegal stuff.
That's, yes. A little mucky there, but yes. Now on to the update.
Oh boy.
I spoke to my little brother, the birthday boy, the person that should be dictating who is invited. I don't like that.
I don't know about that.
I don't like that.
I don't like that.
I don't like that.
I don't like that at all.
Before getting into that, I understand I was the a-hole when I was 17. I would like to point out that it does not take a lot to get to that point of sleeping with someone your sister has slept with. It's not all effing rosy. It doesn't make it right, but it's already happened. Okay. Anyways, back to it. My little brother. He understands everyone's perspectives. Understands that my sister is holding on to things. Understands the need for me to have someone travel up with me. He said my partner was invited, but understands why my sister is taking her stance. At the end of the day, he would like both me and my sister there. He asked me if I could call my sister and try and talk things out and get her to reconsider. In our conversation, he admitted that he doesn't really get it when it comes to holding the grudge, but nonetheless, it's her decision to do so. I asked him if it would be upset if I didn't end up going because of this, and he said, well, yeah, but we will make it up for later. He understands that I need to have someone to help drive. It's a long drive. 18 hours is no joke.
Oh, yeah.
He remains completely neutral. I did not ask him to put his foot down and tell anyone what or who should be coming, even though you kind of did say that at the beginning. He said if he asked his opinion, he will share it diplomatically. He just wants to enjoy his birthday. After this phone call, I spoke to my sister. This conversation was heated from the get-go. It was extremely heated. As of now, I understand it is her perspective that she believes my partner cheated on her when we first got together, when we were 17. I asked her why she thought this, and her answer was, I'm not getting into it. I don't need to.
Uh-oh.
I mentioned that she was with X at the time, and she said that she said that didn't effing matter. There was obviously a connection between her and my partner.
Oh.
She's jelly.
She's jelly. Okay, reminiscing feelings.
But you have a husband now and
with
2
children.
kids.
Ooh, icky. Icky.
That's not a good mindset.
Ooh.
And she's like, he cheated on me. That's it.
And at that time,
Do you approve? No, that's it.
Whenever we were both 17, we were basically dating him at the same time. So,
and he chose.
Sometimes I would be in the room when you were not.
She's just upset. Yeah, he was just confused.
He was confused. He was just certainly dating me.
Yeah, he thought you were me. And
you know how many times he kissed me during that time? Dude, she could have done that. If they were identical twins.
That's the thing.
He didn't know. Ooh.
Or maybe they did know. I don't know. Maybe that's the thing with I don't know. Let's not get into those very.
Keon's getting nervous over here.
Those are very deep insights. I mentioned her talking to him on multiple occasions after we broke up and a few years ago, and she said, "No, I didn't." And I said, "You did. I've seen the messages." He apologized. You accepted. You even sent him a photo of your daughter. She said, "You can't keep bringing that up. It doesn't matter. I didn't have a conversation with him, and if I did, I blocked him straight after." This is incorrect, as she blocked him when me and him started seeing each other again. She's just very jealous that he picked her over. They're identical.
Yeah.
They have to be identical.
I have to.
And he picked OP over the sister.
Dude, you know what sucks? I've been in a similar situation.
You dated twins?
No, I had one twin that was into me.
Oh.
But I was into her other twin.
I
know.
Identical twins? Or
yeah, they were identical.
Oh, wow.
I know. Personality-wise, they were different.
Okay, I mean, obviously.
One was a little bit meaner than the other one.
Did you like the meaner one?
Yeah.
Yeah. I would be into the meaner one too. The nice ones, come on. Okay.
A little too nice.
Okay. That's for another story. Let's go into the rest of this one. I asked her what it would take for us to move forward from this, and she said, "I can have a relationship with you without him being involved." That's not how it works.
That's so unfair, dude.
Which I agreed with. That absolutely can occur. But I'm also not going to pretend my relationship doesn't exist. He is a part of my life. She seemingly doesn't want that. Doesn't want to be in the same room. I asked her why, and she said, "Are you serious?" And I said, "Yeah." She said because she simply doesn't want to be around him. I pointed out that as he is a part of my life, she said if I end up having kids, she will reconsider and be a part of their lives, but not his.
Oh my gosh.
Why is she being so petty?
Oh my gosh.
That would be the point of reconsidering for children. I tried to explain that those kids would be an extension of him.
Yeah, dude.
And she
literally
said,
half of him.
And she said, "So?" And I said, "He will be around, especially around his children." To which wasn't met well. She asked me to remember a certain trauma that was disclosed by her during the time I started seeing my partner, the first time. And I said, "Yeah, but they are two scenarios." Her response was, "But they aren't in my mind." Whoa. Note, this trauma has nothing to do with my partner, and it was only because it was disclosed during the time that I started seeing him when I was 17 that she joins them. I asked if she had considered therapy to separate the two. She said she doesn't need therapy, so she's just closed-minded.
Weird.
I don't know. I'm very intrigued by, like, there's two different scenarios. I guess she's tying it together with the ex, but he's not the reason of that. That's what it seems like.
I think the boyfriend, do we know his name?
No.
I think the boyfriend made promises to OP's sister, and she's mad about it.
Oh, 100%. Or like guaranteed or something, like, "Oh yeah, you're the one," or like all that stuff.
Living my life.
I reiterated that our brother would both like us to be there, but without the reconsidering of the stance, I wouldn't be able to go. It went on a fair bit of tangents, but I said I feel like I'm being punished for a silly choice at 17 over and over again. And she said it's not me and her, it's between him and her. He's talked to you.
Yeah.
And I guess he would be down to talk again, but she doesn't, the twin sister doesn't want to talk to him.
Yeah.
I pointed out that there is still no resolve in this, and she doesn't care. I asked her if there is anything we can do to help, and she said, "Not go." From the conversations, things have become less clear, and nothing has a reason other than I slept with him. No explanations as to why she thought they were together. I have no clear answers. I write this and ask, does it even matter though? Does what happened 12 years matter? The little particular details. But you know what, guys? We have all the details for you. Live every weekday at 3 p.m. PST. Just tap our profile.
I hate that there's no context.
I hate that the sister's not giving any context.
Oh, he's coming. You can't come.
What can I do to make things work?
You can't come.
You can't come.
He cannot be around at all.
Is there anything I can do?
Absolutely not.
What about like if I have children?
Yeah, but he can't be there.
But he's the father of the children.
That doesn't matter.
You're married to another man with 2 kids.
But I can still be offended by this because I used to like him and I have all these feelings towards him, so he can't be around me.
You are connecting one trauma that you had at the same time when I got together with him.
But they were basically dating at the same time, remember? Remember that?
Because
Remember they're twins? They were dating at the same time?
This is so confusing.
It's such a mind game. I'm trying to understand your mind game, OP sister. I can't.
What are you getting at? Like, again, unless if we have the full-on disclosed details of, like, did the ex do something really traumatic?
I think they were talking before OP and the boyfriend got together.
100%.
She's jealous now because
I think she's just upset.
He ain't his baby daddy.
I think she's just upset that she chose OP over her. Unless if there are other details. Like, because, again, the sister and the boyfriend, OP's boyfriend, it was consensual.
Yeah.
There was nothing that we know that
I don't think that's the issue. I don't think what happened at a young age is the issue.
That's like the first thing that was consensual. He didn't take advantage or anything. It was just like, okay. And then fast forward another year, especially since he's being around because he's hanging out with the older brother. So, what is going on with the sister here?
Dude, who freaking knows?
I do think time heals wounds, and I'm not trying to sweep anything under the rug. I'm happy to address it. I just need to know, what am I addressing other people than sleeping with them? I am closer to answers that I was prior to the conversation. So are we. It won't change our relationship now, to be honest. I do love him, and we have both grown in mistakes that were made when we were teenagers. It is what it is. Teenagers make mistakes. Our adult relationship, I won't be apologizing for. And that's the end of that. We don't know. We don't have an update. I think OP's not the a-hole here. I think OP is just like, if you have reasoning other than like you just don't like the guy,
yeah,
to not invite him, I don't understand.
Yeah,
but I have proof that he talked to you and he apologized to you, and you talked to him.
You guys should be all good.
They were good. They were giddy. Like he's like, oh yeah, I'm apologizing.
She probably thought she had a chance.
She probably thought she had a chance, and then again they got back together, and that's when things got. OP and the boyfriend got back together. It's just jealousy. It has to be jealousy.
That's so whack. Not inviting your sister to a party.
It's their brother's 21st birthday, by the way.
Whack, dude.
OP's sister, you're whack. Again, OP is trying to figure out a resolution.
Yeah.
And she's not getting. The only resolution is that sucks. Don't bring him.
Please, like, insanity.
No.
Well, that's that story.
That's the end of the story, guys.
My sister's apartment is a mess, but when we tried to clean it, she was furious.
You're gross.
Necessary background context. A couple of years ago, my family, 27 female, helped my sister, 29 female, move out of her apartment while her boyfriend/baby daddy was at work. Bad guy. Her entire apartment was trashed, literally trashed everywhere. Her kitchen was full of every dirty dish possible, pots, pans, silverware. By the way, this comes from a bit lost and found on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So there was food molded and encrusted to the dishes. Ooh. Almost all was thrown away as it was not savable. They had 3 cats that pissed everywhere.
Ew.
They made no attempt to clean it. The smell was unpleasant to say the least. Because of what my sister, we'll call her Sam, told us. We were under the impression that the state of the apartment was all her now ex-boyfriend's fault. Needless to say, we quickly packed her and her daughter up and got them out of there. Fast forward to now. My parents helped her get in a new apartment closer to their home. They helped her get a car. They helped her with getting her daughter to ABA therapy. She has autism 5 days a week. Sam asks me for money on occasion, Sam asks me for money occasionally, asking she is stretched thin this week, but can pay me back when her check comes in. She works from home. There was one occasion where my mom and I went over to clean Sam's new apartment in the past. We let it slide and assumed it was just due to the big changes and depression. I got Sam in touch with a great psychologist who started on her meds for her depression. Now that you know a small piece of the situation, I'll get on to the real problem. The apartment is completely trashed. When our mom dropped Sam's daughter off after ABA, she went in to use the restroom. Once inside, she saw trash everywhere. Picture pizza boxes, takeout bags, empty bottles, dishes, moldy food in the kitchen, mountains of dirty laundry, and more. Of course, our mom had a moment and basically told Sam to clean this crap up. Once my mom told me what she saw at Sam's, I was pissed. Sam's daughter is 3 years old and has autism. She puts literally anything and everything in her mouth.
Oh no.
This is so bad.
That's so bad.
So many choking hazards.
It just gross environment in general. That's disgusting. Ugh.
All I could imagine was my niece picking up moldy food and putting it in her mouth. Ugh.
No.
This kid is sick all the time. Respiratory issues, diarrhea, fevers. It's typical for toddlers to get sick, but as often as she is, not normal. I know the mold is playing a huge role. Sam doesn't seem to be bothered. I made a plan with my mom to show up unannounced at Sam's apartment to discuss the issue and help her clean up. Had we told Sam we were coming, she would have told us not to. She likely would have taken her daughter, locked the doors, and left so she wouldn't have to make up an excuse as to why she won't let us in. So we showed up, she opened the door, and was completely caught off guard when we said we had to talk to her about something and walked right in. Surprisingly, she did actually pick up some of the trash my mom had seen last time she was over. However, we soon found out that she had just put the trash in her small back patio outside.
Dude.
Out of sight, out of mind, dude.
Like, oh, if it's not here, it's not here. Like, you know, the trash is gone.
I mean, she kind of did clean it.
She just moved it.
Cleaned it out of her house.
Out of her house to the patio.
Yeah.
For more trash to be put there.
Nah.
This is actually disgusting.
Yeah. Here's where I might really be the a-hole. I told her that if CPS were to walk into your apartment, they would consider this to be neglect and you could lose your daughter.
That's okay. That makes sense.
And if your daughter understood what was going on, do you think she would choose to be here? Ooh, she went boom, boom.
That's not even an a-hole move. That's just so fair.
These are critical questions to be asking yourself.
There's like, you need to be tidy and like put clothes away and like stuff like that. There is mold. You can get rats. You can get maggots. You can get so many things from moldy food. It's all over the apartment.
Not healthy.
That's disgusting for a 3-year-old too, by the way. A 3-year-old is living in this environment with mold and... Ugh.
Sam said, I know, but I did pick up all of the trash. She did not. At that exact moment, I leaned over and lifted the nearest piece of foil off of a ceramic dish, and lo and behold, mold. Ugh. I mean, the entire dish was full of about 1 inch of mold.
That's brutal. That is actually disgusting. Why do you live in that environment?
This particular dish my mom recognized as the dish she let Sam take on Christmas, as it had been full of the dessert leftovers.
Dude, that is...
Oh my gosh.
That is foul.
Oh my gosh.
I get it. Maybe you missed your dish and like you're a little lazy, you need a break, maybe like a day, but your entire household is full of mold. And this is from Christmas.
My mother would love this story.
Why?
She loves
dirty stories?
No, she hates it.
Oh,
she absolutely hates it, but
yeah.
I'm saying.
My mom would probably have like, I'm not kidding, like an aneurysm.
Yeah.
Like if she saw that.
I can't possibly describe everything my mom and I cleaned up as Sam's cleaned upstairs. However, I can say at one point I did lift up one side of the couch for my mom to look under. The smell was so bad that I swore her cat was dead underneath it. Luckily, no cat was found.
Thank God.
Unfortunately, that was just the means the mold must have spread either to the carpet or within the walls.
Dude.
We also discovered mold growing behind her kitchen sink. I was very surprised, and I didn't find bugs crawling around. I also noticed my niece grabbing pins off one of the couch cushions and putting them into her mouth. Within the pile that she grabbed the pins from was scissors. When I told Sam this, she did not even seem to understand the problem.
Dude.
This is not safe.
This is a terrible, terrible environment, let alone for just an adult, but a 3-year-old?
3-year-old, dude. A toddler.
This is... I would be like, I'm taking my niece.
Yeah.
Like if you don't get your act together, like I get it, this is your baby, but this is just a terrible environment.
Yeah.
For her. Clean this place and it needs to be spotless.
Oh yeah.
Immediately. And you need to figure out scissors that a kid could reach.
Come on.
If she's putting the pens in her mouth.
Yeah.
Dude.
I have been to a house where it's just like undescribably, like I could not believe people were living there.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like this is one of those.
I don't think I've ever had that. I mean, I've been to frat houses. Like I've been inside a frat house.
Oh no, this is way different.
Where it's like disgusting and like filthy, but like that's kind of expected.
Yeah.
But this is a house for like a mom and a daughter.
At the end of our visit, we had told her that we aren't going to keep cleaning this up every few months for you. If your medication is not helping you, you need to tell your doctor so we can find you something better. This is not safe for your daughter, and we simply cannot allow it to go on. Mm-hmm. We then left and went to the store and picked up cleaning supplies and dropped it off at the door and hit the doorbell. We didn't expect her to open the door for us again, so we left. You can open the door for us every weekday at 3 p.m. PST. Just tap our profile.
Tap it.
Ugh.
Do you like?
I hate this story. I hate this story so much. I'm just crawling on the inside. Like
the bugs crawling all over the mold. And the,
why you can't find the bugs? Because they're crawling inside of me right now.
Ooh. Get them out. Clean them off. I mean, we already know what needs to be done here.
Yeah.
The fact that I get it, you can have depression and like not clean and it hits, but you gotta know.
If it's coming to this point, you gotta like address it.
There is a fine line between like, okay, it's messy in here, but to like it's unlivable in here, and this is unlivable.
No bueno.
No, this is actually disgusting.
My family and I have talked about it, and we have no idea what to do. On one hand, we feel bad because we understand she's dealing with depression, but on the other hand, we're fed up. My niece just can't be left to live in a situation like that. It's absolutely neglect at this point. Mm-hmm. Our current plans are to check her apartment again in a month to make sure it hasn't gone right back to crap. My sister won't speak to me, but has been telling my mom that coming over unexpectedly was extremely rude, and the way I spoke to her was disrespectful and doing too much. I truly feel like what my mom and I did was for the best, despite things I said. I felt like she needed to hear the CPS comment to snap her out of it. But hearing what she thinks has me questioning myself. Maybe I should have gone about it in a different way. Was I too mean? And what the heck do we do if this keeps happening? No, I don't think it was too mean. No. You're trying to save your niece at the bare minimum. You need to hear this.
No, I really took the words out of my mouth. Like I said earlier, this is an unlivable environment, not just for a regular adult, but for a 3-year-old. The CPS comment was supposed to snap her out of it.
Oh yeah.
The fact that she got offended and like, you guys didn't have to clean up my house. It was disgusting. You should have been thankful.
Yeah.
That they actually were like, we're gonna clean this up. Here's some cleaning equipment. Do this. Yeah. We're gonna come back. If it's not clean, like I said earlier, take the kid.
That they cared enough about you to come by and to check on you and to do that.
Yeah, they know. They understand that you're going through it, and like I said, depression is really crappy. But this is not. That's not an excuse to live in like actual crap.
Dude, this is terrifying. Ugh.
Yeah, that is foul. I think that's what you need to. That's what you need to do. You go back. If it's not clean, you got to take the kid.
Yeah.
Not like, but like, you're like, hey, do you understand? The fact that she didn't understand that the scissors was already a bad thing.
Yeah, I would probably be looking at the next steps.
Let alone moldy food.
Yeah.
The smell.
Yeah.
bad, just all bad. Yeah. So
yikes.
definitely see where it is 2 months. I'm hoping and praying it gets better.
Yeah, me too. Goodness gracious.
But that's the end of the story, guys.
My sister chose my rude ex-friend over me, so I'm dropping both of them.
Boom, boom. Drop, drop.
My sister and I are both 29 female, and my ex-best friend is 30 female. Now, my ex-best friend and I have been friends since middle school, so I've known her for the majority of my life. She's displayed things throughout our friendship that I didn't like: borderline racism, betrayal to others when she was getting closer to, gaslighting, etc., etc. But I wasn't able to put into words why I felt a certain way about things she said or did until a few years ago, as I'm more able to speak up for myself, navigate my emotions, and just have more wisdom from life experience and getting older. By the way, this comes from user Proud Ostrich 8463 on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, my sister is very passive and doesn't like to cause drama. She's been this way her entire life. She'll do anything to ensure people aren't mad, even if that means her own discomfort. A few months ago, I was visiting home, and since my sister and then best friend were also friends, we all decided to make time to hang out.
Cute.
I'll call the ex-best friend Rachel. Rachel called while I was with family asking to hang out, and I told her as of now, I can't. But after, if she's still up for it, I can call and see if she's still free, and we can hang and my sister will join us, which she didn't mind. I told her I couldn't text her until I got back home because I didn't have a SIM card and was relying on Wi-Fi, which she knows, and she said she had other things to do and we could talk later and see. I never get a SIM card when I come home because I'm usually with family or a close friend anyway, and I don't need my phone like that. She decided to communicate with my sister instead. They were texting pretty much all day, with Rachel asking if we were still going to hang out with her. What time do you think we'll be ready? She even told my sister that she needed to know soon because she has 2 kids and needs to secure a babysitter.
Oh.
My sister would reply like, sure, or just passive replies that would leave the other person unsure of a yes or no. My sister never mentioned any of this to me. I found out later.
Oh, no.
It's about 1 a.m. at this point, and I called a friend. I hang out late with friends all the time since I'm single and have no kids. Rachel only does sometimes. If she has her kids, she'll just say, let's hang at her place, and if she doesn't have her kids, we'll go out. She was out at a hookah lounge, but said she was going to keep hanging with who she was with, and we could go home. I thought it was weird, but I let it go. She sent me a voice message like 2 hours later calling me a crappy friend and saying how disrespectful I was for making her wait for me when I knew she needed a babysitter and all of this other stuff. I told her I don't know what she's talking about because the last time we talked, we agreed I couldn't promise to hang out, but I would text her later and see if she was still free. We have always done this, so I was confused on why this was an issue. She replied, I talked to your sister, so why am I getting yelled at and being spoken to like this?
The evil sister.
It was my sister's fault. Why are you doing this to me? I then called my sister, and she admitted to talking to her throughout the day, but denies that she promised her a time or anything. After pushing a bit more, I found her responses to Rachel were passive. When Rachel told her she needed to know now, around 8 p.m., if she needed to get a babysitter and pushing her to confirm a time, instead of my sister saying, let's just plan a different day because we're still with family, she told her, if you want to, then that's cool. Which Rachel just took as a yes.
Oh, God.
Yo, sister's got a 1 out of 10 communication level right now.
This is wild.
Sister cannot communicate. If I had known they were texting and that Rachel was pushing for a time and needed a babysitter, I would have told her to tell her, let's just reschedule to the next day or something. I can see why Rachel would be mad, but her reaction to me and my sister was so different. To me, she was so rude and I wasn't even a part of the conversation. And to my sister, she was very calm. All she said to her was, I'm really unhappy about how tonight went and I'm too angry to talk, so let's talk later. I mean, I don't know, dude. She literally said she's too angry to talk. Sounds pretty angry to me.
Yeah.
You just happen to be on the wrong side of it.
True.
It's not like I want her to be rude to my sister, but I deserve that same message, if anything. My sister is very fragile emotionally, so we can't tell her a lot if we're upset with her. I wanted to, but my mom advised against it because she's not strong mentally like I am. She takes things to heart and doesn't let it go, so it frequently affects her. I kept quiet, hoping she would bring it up and apologize for her part, which she never did. As for Rachel, that was my last straw with her, and I cut contact. Although I understand why she was upset, I don't feel I deserve to be talked to that way. It doesn't compare to things she's done in the past, but I was just done at that point. Fast forward to now, my mom called and mentioned my sister and Rachel still hang out. She wasn't trying to be messy, it just slipped out. I was angry. My sister doesn't know everything that's happened in the past with Rachel, but she was a part of this situation and knows everything about how she treated me. I would never stay friends with someone who blatantly disrespected my sister.
Yeah.
I always have her back, no matter what, but I just feel like she never had mine when it involves other people. She's too worried about their feelings.
Okay.
She did this before with another friend of mine who did me wrong, but we were like 17, so I let it go. But it just brought back those feelings of being gaslit and told it's not a big deal. And it is a huge deal for you to join us live on YouTube every weekday at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Just tap on our profile.
What are your thoughts on this?
Honestly, well, I mean, she's saying that we don't have all the other stuff as to why she's cutting Rachel off. It does seem like it's a bit of a drastic response to completely cut this person off just because they like snapped at you after they were annoyed.
Yeah.
Like, I can put myself in her shoes. And I would feel so annoyed if I was waiting for people all night to hang out.
Yeah.
And then they never gave me a time. And then they call me at 1 a.m. being like, hey, what's up? I'd be like, shut up.
Yeah.
I'm already hanging out with these other people. I'm not going to, what? Now I'm going to ditch them for you?
Yeah.
No plans, McGee. Now I don't really want to talk to my sister anymore. Oh, great. No, she's doubling down.
Beautiful.
Especially since I can't even really bring up the situation without it affecting her mentally. It's not that I don't love her. She'll always be my sister. But I also saw my sister as my best friend. I don't feel that anymore. We talked almost every day, but these days we don't. The last time I was visiting home, I was happy to see her, but I didn't make plans to hang one-on-one, just with other family there. Am I the a-hole for pulling away from my sister? Am I being too harsh and sensitive? Please don't be too mean. If I'm the problem, it's definitely something I'm willing to work on, and I've even looked into therapy as I'm prone to overthinking. But I feel very wronged right now.
Oh, girl,
So-
you're valid in feeling that you're wronged.
Yeah, that's true.
Take a week, think about it. Don't be distancing yourself. Just give yourself some space, some time.
We don't know everything that's happened with Rachel.
We don't.
Don't cut out your sister over this.
Nope.
Unnecessary.
Unnecessary.
And like, you can't be mad at your sister for like still being friends with somebody who you say like blatantly disrespected you, but it's like, given the context,
it's
it's
a little
pretty
hazy.
understandable
Yeah.
that someone could snap
Yeah.
in that
Yeah.
situation.
Yeah.
So
Just hopefully you can forgive and be friends again.
I'm hoping you can find a way to forgive them both.
Yeah.
That's just me though.
My girlfriend hates my little sister. I ended things with her.
Whoa.
Quick and easy. I, 27 male, and my girlfriend, 25 female, have lived together for about 6 months. My younger sister, 11 female, was an oops baby. My parents had been told the chances of them having more biological kids was very low due to some health complications from my mother's pregnancy with me. By the way, this comes from Ill Decision 4297 on the OK Storytime subreddit. So, of course, my parents were very thrilled to have her, even if I was a bit of a crab during the pregnancy, because I was afraid people would think she was my kid and I was some deadbeat teen dad who left his kid to his parents.
My little brother's like 12 years younger than me. They would like walk around in the streets being like, hey, dad. I'm like, stop. I'm not
Your dad. And they're like, wow. After she was born, and with my parents being very quick to shut down any speculations and to assert they were the bio parents, I did build up a relationship with her. I was kind, she was silly. I stayed home through college because we lived in a college town and it was a very easy commute. After I landed a decent entry-level job, I saved for a year before moving out. I've been out in my apartment since, but have my sister over regularly for weekends out or summer days of adventure. Some of my friends comment how much she is a mini me. Honestly, I've been enjoying the Big Brother scene. Before we moved in together, my girlfriend tended to avoid my sister whenever possible. At first, I understood because she was young, full of wild energy, and a bit of a clinger. My girlfriend doesn't like being clung to or touched for long periods. Something called being touched out is her phrasing of it, because she grew up in a house full of younger, needy siblings. She never joined us on our weekends or our days of adventure, even if it were things she wanted to do or see. She would ask me for separate times doing the same thing. Really annoying, but I understood she didn't want to be around my sister all the time. even if I don't spend every weekend or every week with her. But when she moved in and I got my promotion at the same time, I explained that with work the way it is now, I wouldn't have the extra time to take her to the same place I was already going to with my sister at a different time. If she wanted to go do or see something my sister and I were already doing, she would have to tag along. My sister is well behaved, still a little silly, but overall kinder than me. My girlfriend did not seem keen on this, but agreed to try. I had to sit down with my sister to reiterate that she can't be a Klingon to my girlfriend, as she has some things she is sorting out and just needs physical space. She agreed immediately and promised to ask for a hug if she really wanted to. My sister has kept to that promise, waving hello instead of barreling in for a hug, asking if it's okay to sit next to her on the sofa, and offering my girlfriend her comfort items. Over the months, we have gone to different things, but Halloween time was especially busy. Pumpkin patches, corn mazes, apple picking, haunted attractions, and more. Oh, so cute. Every time I would ask my girlfriend if she wanted to join, and she would decline once finding out my sister would be there, even though she really wanted to do cutesy pumpkin patch pictures or go to haunted things. I reminded her I couldn't keep doing the same thing twice due to time constraints. I would take her out for dates, dinners, and other straight-up couple things. I made sure she would have little gifts like her favorite flowers or a new plushie that she liked. I got her a spa day with friends once when she turned down going to the corn maze. I brought her home things from the places we were going to, her favorite apples, the biggest pumpkin so she could have her fun carving it. I just don't get the appeal, but she had fun. Also seems like OP's, it's not just like, oh, I'm hanging out with my sister, and if you don't come, then we're not hanging out at all. They're still hanging out.
Still making time for her.
I don't like it. I don't like it one bit. I told her the next few weekends we can find things to do, but I need to start looking at different Christmas things. My girlfriend got really excited and suggested a place. I agreed, saying my sister already said she wanted to do that village too. I would find a time to work for that. Her face crumpled, and she snapped at me, demanding to know why I always drag that brat around like a dad or something. Yeah, she sucks. She sucks.
Yo, does she not have siblings?
She must be a friggin' bad older sibling. I told her she knew my parents were unable to do these sorts of things with her, mobility issues, health issues, and not having the money. I grew up never doing anything like it, always felt left out, and I wanted her to have these experiences. I had told her about going to keep doing these weekends and outings with her before we started dating, and she was okay with it. Why is it suddenly an issue? She can come along. She doesn't have to watch her. She doesn't have to pay for any of it. She can enjoy the time with us. We have our own time, our own space, and our own things. We do things alone as a couple 2 to 3 times a week. There are weekends I don't have my sister. Am I wrong? I just want them to get along. I want them to be comfortable around each other. She doesn't have to be a babysitter. I'm the brother. Am I the a-hole? She makes it seem like she doesn't even want her in the apartment sometimes, just outright ignoring her or walking away. And quick edit, to be very, very clear, I do not have my sister every weekend or throughout the weeks. I make the weekends in advance, so my girlfriend knows they're coming and she can set up things to do. But I am tired of doing the same thing twice, because she refuses to tag along, and I don't have as much free time because of the promotion. To be very, very clear, there is plenty of time during the week for couples activities like I had previously said. 2 to 3 times a week, we go out and do things, dinners, movies, bars, walks, other things she says she wants to do. There have been weekend getaways and amusement park days, just the 2 of us. She isn't asked to keep an eye out on my sister. I wasn't parentified. I didn't change diapers. I didn't do feedings. I don't make sure my sister is fed, dressed, schoolwork done. I don't drive to doctor's appointments unless it's an emergency. ER visit, flat tire for a dental appointment are the only 2 I can think of. And there is an update, but pausing, what do you think OP does here?
I have kind of been in a similar situation here. I've had girlfriends where they meet my little brothers.
Yeah.
And they just don't want anything to do with them.
That's messed up.
I know.
I personally think like one of the most attractive things for a man is to be a good older brother. I think
That's
like
a good one.
Yeah, because also I mean like one shows that you have a good relationship with your family. That's nice, and also just like you have a good relationship with kids.
Yeah, that's huge. That's what I like a lot about Angie. It's like she's good with kids. She works with kids too. That's huge to me because I want a big family one day.
It's obviously different for different people, but I want a family, and that is something that is attractive.
Yeah.
So this
Some you
girlfriend
want to
is-
keep an eye out, and if you get like red flags from it, it's a good thing.
Also, even if she is not a huge kid person, you don't have to be a huge kid person or like into kids or wanting to, be around kids to be nice to them.
Yeah.
You don't have to call them a brat.
Yeah.
That's pretty messed up.
What the heck?
That's pretty mean. Josephine Medolberg says Sophia refuses to date only childs. LOL. I don't know if it's a refusal.
No, you would date an only child if they had a lot of younger, close first siblings or first cousins.
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like I vibe with. Well, Dakota's an only child, so we as friends we get along, but he's on thin ice. But there is an update. Kimberly Hawley says I'm not a kid person and I have 3. I'm nice to them sometimes.
Dude, you know what my mom told me?
What?
She said some families are not 4-kid families, and we're not a 4-kid family. And I'm like, you have 4 kids. What is that supposed to mean?
What does that mean?
I was so confused.
I don't know what that means. But there is an update. Oh, Josephine Medolberg says into kids. That sounded weird. You know what? You made that weird. You did that. Thank you for the 27th sec, though. But let's get into the update. This really blew up way bigger than I had expected. I read all the comments I could and thought hard about everything that was said. Even the mean things. I appreciate all of the perspectives, advice, and even the name calling in my DMs. I guess I need to straighten out a few things first. My sister is my sister. I am not her father. And this was what I was worried about being accused of as a teen, so that's awesome. At most, which is also not often, I have her 2 weekends a month, but that's always height of holiday season or my parents are in need because of medical going-ons. My dad has been in and out of the hospital the last 2 years. In the summer, I will take her on day trips to things like the beach, an amusement park, or something maybe twice a month with a weekend visit. I promise I wasn't being intentionally vague. My thought process was, I don't have her every weekend. I think some people read a little too deeply into my simple-minded comment. My parents. My parents had me late 20s, had my sister early 40s, and are mid-50s now. My mother had been in a car accident and has a very bad back and knee. Walking is often difficult, and disability accessibility for holiday things aren't great or are non-existent. They do tend to be on like farms or, pop-ups. So my father has been fighting a chronic illness for as long as I can remember. It's gotten worse in the past 10 years, forcing him to quit his job and basically live part-time in the hospital for treatments. Money was tight as a kid. Money is scarce now for my sister. I pay a portion of rent and groceries for my parents and sister. Giving them the money to do the activities with her would cut down everything she could actually do. She won't go on rides unless she has someone. They can't go to certain things because of mobility access issues and other factors. Future plans. If something happens to my parents, I have been appointed legal guardian. This only happened after I got my steady job, but well before I met my ex-girlfriend. Whoa! Ex! I have always been super clear and upfront about this. On to the update, which we already got a little sneak peek of. After the blow up, my girlfriend went to stay at her friend's for the day. I read your comments and thought hard. I had new questions I never thought of before. Did I want kids? Never really put thought into that. I was too busy trying to do best for my scholarships, then doing my best for a promotion. Was she parentified, as in the girlfriend? She never elaborated on her younger needy siblings or much of her childhood. I know she was the oldest of 4 and 2 have special needs. So I think given her behavior, she probably was parentified. Or at least, she had sometimes in cases where you have siblings who have special needs, sometimes you don't get as much attention. So maybe there was something in that.
Yeah, I would like to see a therapist go to work.
So last night I texted wanting to meet. She said I could go to her friends as she was too upset to go anywhere. I agreed. I brought along a friend since I told him what was up, and he said he was coming. I thought it was weird, but didn't really argue it. We arrive. She's annoyed I brought him to gang up on her, and he asked where her friend was, which made her admit she was waiting in the living room. We got her to agree to send her friend out with him to wait. I felt rude, but my friend said if we can't get her outside, the friend would have to because this was an attempt at a guilt trip from hell. So we sat and she stared at me. I asked if she was parentified as a kid, and she said yes. I asked her to give me a few examples. She started ranting, but I pushed until she told me she had to babysit during emergencies. She specifically mentioned her one sibling fell, and there was so much blood, but she wanted to go to her friends, and they didn't let her. Her first example of being parentified is when her sibling was bleeding and had to go to the emergency room, and she was like, well, I want to go to my friends.
But I can't go to Jessica's.
What do you mean I can't go to... What? She would be asked to set the table. She would be asked to help them pour milk into their cereal when her parents were running late. She complained that even after we got the nanny, they asked for things. They had a nanny.
Oh my gosh.
So she had parents, it sounds like.
She sounds spoiled, not gonna lie.
She sounds very spoiled.
What the heck?
Yikes. Personally, from my understanding, that's not parentification. No, it's not. That's normal asking for help. I asked if they loaded her up with chores. No. I asked if she was responsible for medications. No. Responsible for getting them ready for school or dinners. No. She even looked confused when I asked. I asked her why she was so upset and rude to my sister. She said she looked too much like me. We look nothing alike. I mean, even if you did, why does that matter? You're siblings.
Yeah, that's how that goes.
I have darker hair. She has lighter eyes. We look like weird mixes of our parents, but it's not like we have the same eyes or faces. She said she could be my kid, and she hates the idea of it. The idea of what? Kids? She snapped. She didn't want any kids. You guys don't even have kids. I calmly told her I never asked her for kids, and she doesn't have to look after my sister when she's around. She started ranting that I just don't get it, and how you should have just stopped bringing her around so I could go and do those things with you, because you work too much now. I admit I lost the plot somewhere in the raging rant. Was there a plot to begin with? She bounced around a lot, got very loud, and started stomping around. When she turned to see what I had to say, I told her she knew what was coming because we talked about the double days and she knew my sister was always going to be a part of my life. I can't force her to see her siblings, but she can't force me to cut mine out. She has plenty of time with me as it is with living with me, our dates, and our child-free weekends. Next thing I knew, I was wearing her drink and she was screaming. Ridiculous. So, I mean, okay, you know it's not ridiculous. You guys joining us live every weekday at 3 p.m. PST on YouTube, Facebook, and TikTok. Just tap our profile. But what is ridiculous, before we get into the last part of the story, is that this girl, I mean, not only is she being a nightmare to your sister, but she's also throwing a drink at you when she doesn't get her way.
Yeah,
she's spoiled.
Very spoiled. You only do that whenever you find out your partner cheated on you or like betrayed you. This
Also,
what is
just
this?
Come on.
What is this?
This is ridiculous. This is not oldest sibling behavior.
No,
Like,
I would
you
like to
are
know
not-
the age gaps between her siblings and her. If it was like she's 10 years older than her other siblings, she's basically an only child. At that
Yeah,
point.
maybe. Kimberly Hawley says she doesn't want OP to divide his attention between the girlfriend and the sister. She wants to be the center of his world. Yeah, she wants all the attention, but there is a little bit left. I'm glad that you're breaking up with her. All I heard was a loud pitch buzz in my ears. I slowly got up and she went quiet. I told her, she's done. We're done. And I left. Her name isn't on my lease, so she doesn't have a leg to stand on. I'm getting the locks changed when my buddy arrives with what I need. I packed up all their stuff last night after I showered. I'm done. But she isn't. She's been texting and calling all night. They go from full sobs and begging to rage and screaming. I blocked her on all social media, turned my profiles to private, and have a mutual friend watching what she posts. The only reason I haven't blocked her cell is because she made some weird comments on the first few messages that have me a little worried. I guess that's it for now. She doesn't seem parentified. She seems crazy now. Advice. And that is the end of that story. I think you made the right decision.
Oh, yeah.
I got roped into cooking for my family, and now my sister and I are fighting. English is not my first language, and this is what was translated using AI. Also, this is my friend's story, and she needs some outside perspective, but I will be telling it in first person to reduce confusion. Now here's some context. By the way, this comes from Least Clue 7068 on the OK Storytime subreddit. So, I come from a big family. I live with my dad, 61 male, stepmom, 52 female, sister, 29 female, half-brother, 12 male, and half-sister, 15 female. My older brother, 32 male, moved out, so it's just me and the rest of them. I'm 25 female. Okay, so we have dad, stepmom, sister, half-brother, half-sister. So this all started on a particularly frustrating Thursday. I had planned to hang out with my brother and his girlfriend, but due to some family drama involving my dad and brother, think court issues and all that mess,
Judge Judy,
I was told to stay home. My dad wanted me to focus on studying instead. I understand why my dad wanted me to stay, so I obliged. Most of the day, I was cooped up in my room while my dad popped in and out to check on me. Then came the moment that set everything off. My dad asked me to blend a box of tomatoes in the kitchen to prevent them from spoiling. My stepmom jokingly suggested I cook something while I was at it. I jokingly mentioned making jollof rice, but somehow it turned into a serious task. I figured I might as well learn how to cook. So after taking a shower, I headed downstairs to start prepping. However, I underestimated how challenging cooking could be.
This is so great.
This story is really funny to me. That's when things took a turn with my sister. While cooking, my sister came downstairs and touched the pot I was using for the meat. Already stressed from trying to follow YouTube cooking tutorials, this upset me because the videos emphasized not to touch the pot or open the lid.
Wait, did she open the lid or did she just touch the pot?
When she did, I snapped and told her not to touch it again. Her response was defiant. I've touched it. What are you going to do?
Oh, no. Oh, no. Here we go.
Sigh. I pushed her. Honestly, I was angry already, and her touching the pot didn't make it better. This escalated quickly into an argument about respect and sibling dynamics. She accused me of laughing at her, which confused me because I was far from amused. I was stressed about cooking when I had no idea how to do it. Despite trying to stay silent, we ended up yelling at each other despite my efforts to stay quiet and just cook. It felt like all that pent-up frustration exploded right there in the kitchen. We eventually went silent and just ended up watching videos on our various devices. A couple minutes later, my dad walked in and asked about how the rice was coming along. He then turned to my sister and asked what had happened. Apparently, my sister looked visibly angry while I didn't. Obviously, I'm not going to be mad and talk to my dad. Because he hasn't done anything to me. She started talking loudly about how I had been disrespectful and how she didn't appreciate being pushed away from the pot. Despite my efforts to stay quiet and separate myself from the situation, we quickly escalated into yelling at each other. Needing to calm down, but still focused on not letting my food burn, I stayed in the kitchen while cutting onions. As tears filled my eyes from pent-up frustration, I cry when I'm angry. It's my own personal curse. I told her not to come near me because I was holding a knife. I honestly wasn't meant as a threat. It was just a statement of fact. But looking back, I realized that my tone might have sounded threat. In an attempt to defend myself further, I made another comment. You want me to make your hair right? This wasn't meant as an attack either. I was just pointing out how she could treat me poorly, yet still expect help from me later. She had stayed up late doing my hair just the night before, which I genuinely appreciated, but apparently I complained when I did her hair. I honestly had no idea that I did this. She said it made her angry and that I was ungrateful. I wasn't, but I guess everyone is entitled to their own opinion. The argument escalated even more when I threatened to damage her car. Not seriously. It was just an empty threat out of frustration that slipped out during a heated exchange. We were both saying hurtful things at this point. I brought up how she often borrows money from me and called her broke. She retaliated by bringing up my GPA as if that somehow justified her actions. At one point during this, we both ended up holding knives. Not as an actual threat, but more as an unfortunate circumstance of being in the kitchen while arguing. In an attempt to diffuse things further, I handed mine over to my stepmom while she still held hers tightly. That's when things took a turn for the worse. I grabbed her hand and threw the knife on the floor, and in a moment of anger and frustration, she bit down on one of my cornrows hard enough that it hurt like hell. I had stupid extensions attached to it, so it seemed more like a half up, half down, cornrow style with a little bit of hair left out. In retaliation, still caught up in the heat of the moment, I grabbed her hair, not sure if this matters, but cornrows too, just without the extension, and pulled hard without thinking about what might happen next. It wasn't until afterward that I realized I'd unknowingly left her with a bald spot from where I'd yanked her hair so forcefully, I didn't find out till about 30 minutes later. She threatened again to cut off my hair in retaliation since she had made my hair and I hadn't made hers yet. At this point, realizing how out of control things had gotten, I caught myself yelling at my dad. I immediately apologized. When he realized this, it made me stop talking entirely because I noticed that I was yelling at everyone and needed to regain control over my anger.
I'm sorry, yelling at your dad was the moment you realized?
Yeah, he's like
things had gone a little too far?
Hold on a minute.
Not the knife fight where you had to give the knife to stepmom? Not when you were biting each other's hair off?
I think this is funny because this all started, OP was just trying to make some rice.
Yeah, just trying to be like, imagine if I made that,
Literally
right?
never go into the kitchen when Opie's in the kitchen.
I guess
that's
not.
the lesson. And Honeybee says, and how old are these children? 25 and 29.
Yeah, 25 and 29.
My sister still kept talking, but I kept quiet because I really didn't want to keep going. Eventually, my stepmom took me aside on the stairwell for a talk about after everything calmed down slightly. She emphasized that since I'm the younger sister, I shouldn't disrespect my older sister like that. Her words stung because they made me feel like no one really cared about me, and all everyone wanted to do was console my sister. I still felt guilty about everything that had happened, and I mentioned that I would apologize, but I was advised not to apologize that day. Thursday, this is important. I decided it would be better for both of us if we cooled off first before addressing everything again. I finished cooking in silence and went to bed, still feeling tense. The next day, Friday, despite intending to braid her hair as usual, something we often did, I decided against it given all the tension between us. Planning to apologize later when she calmed down seemed wise at first. However, this only backfired as she grew angrier throughout the day. While things were still tense at home, my mom called me out of nowhere. She asked how things were going and if I'd talked to my sister yet. When I explained what happened during our fight and how things had been since then, she told me that I should apologize, but not right away.
What is that?
Why is everyone waiting? She suggested waiting until everyone had calmed down a bit more before trying to talk things through with my sister. I thought this made sense since emotions were still running high after everything that had happened just yesterday, and I decided I would talk to her tomorrow, which would have been Saturday. But around 8 p.m. that evening, she stormed into my room yelling and showing me a picture of her hair. It was bad. I had no idea it was that bad, and stating that she'd cut my hair and declared that we were no longer sisters. I was about to apologize, but decided against it as I was told to stay quiet and apologize when she calms down. I came to the conclusion that any form of speech from me would escalate things further. So I stayed quiet and allowed her to yell before she stormed out of my room. Eventually, after some time passed, maybe 3 to 5 minutes, my stepmom suggested it might be a good time for me to apologize, contrary to previous advice that my dad, mom, and stepmom had given about leaving things alone for now. So I decided to go downstairs, intending to apologize for everything that had happened between us earlier. She was talking to her dad when I got downstairs, so I waited till they were done before I approached her with an apology. Despite her anger and yelling at me still, I remained calm and kept apologizing. I basically stood there and said sorry over and over again while she yelled at me. After about 2 minutes of this, my dad tells me to leave, so I go back upstairs and decide to send the message that I'd already typed up. Here's the text that I sent her.
Typed up, too?
You should have just texted her earlier.
Just send it.
I'm sorry about everything that happened. I let my stress about cooking and not being able to understand the YouTube videos get to me, and I shouldn't have taken it out on you. I shouldn't have acted like that when you touched the pot. I was just trying to follow what these cooking videos said, and I was angry that you touched the pot. I didn't even realize how far things had gotten until it was too late. And then when you started yelling about disrespect and me laughing at you, which honestly I wasn't, I didn't handle it well. I shut down and decided that ignoring you instead of fighting and trying to talk it out would be better. I shouldn't have pulled your hair, but I only did that because you were biting my hair, and I know that was way out of line, and I really am sorry for that. I didn't know how much damage I did until you showed me this evening. I also shouldn't have brought up money or any of the things I said. It was petty and hurtful, and I regret saying it. I was just trying to defend myself, and I'm sorry for that. I also shouldn't have threatened to do anything to your car either. That was just me being dramatic and stupid. I appreciate everything you do for me and you staying awake to do my hair. I shouldn't have acted like I was too good to help you out or that I wasn't going to do your hair. I actually was. And at that time, saying that just felt right. I realized I was being unfair and I'm sorry. By the way, we would never be sorry if you joined us live every weekday at 3 p.m. PST on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, and Twitch. Just tap our profile.
Tap it.
You won't be sorry.
We could be live right now.
And there is a little bit more. But what
This is just like
what do you think?
the snowball just rolled out of control.
And now there's
one.
like rocks in the snowball.
Yeah, and it's icy, and it was the size
bad.
of a SUV by the time it got
and
to
if
the
it
bottom
hits you,
of the
you're
hill.
done.
They're holding knives. They're biting cornrows.
There's knives in the snowball too.
Yeah, it's like I think that I still can't get over that. That was like it was like when I yelled at my dad for no reason. That's when I realized it was too far. It wasn't when you were
Holding
actively
knives
wrestling each other
with
or
knives.
going at each other with knives,
Biting each other's hair,
or
pulling each other's
maybe
hair
the
off.
second time the fight started after you guys backed off and then started it again. Like,
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, this was. I think this is a great example of like again, where it's like they just kept going low.
Yes.
Someone just needs to go high one time and just be like, I don't care.
A story of sisters
And it's
going way
over.
too low.
I don't care.
Yeah.
What are you going to do about it? Nothing, because I don't care. Boom! The entire fight is
Diffused.
Doesn't even happen.
Diffused.
It's, I'm not going to do anything about it because I'm too busy cooking.
Mm-hmm.
Done.
Mm-hmm.
But just, if you ever find yourself in this, like, I'm trying to think of, like, it's like a critical mass situation where it just keeps on going.
It's like Arcane with the gemstones, and if they keep hitting things and they're like getting more and more powerful and stuff, and then they blow up. But there's a little bit left.
Yeah, let's finish it up.
So that's how everything unfolded over these 2 days up until now. Honestly, I'm a little conflicted because I honestly feel that we were both a-holes for the situation, but Reddit, am I the a-hole for how things went down? Edit to add, okay, I'm pretty sure I said the age was modified, and I guess that has caused a bit of confusion, in most places at least. Here are the real ages. My friend's sister is 21 female. My friend is 19 female. I didn't know modifying the ages that much would cause this much confusion. I apologize.
Well, yeah, because it's like, how are you doing this when you're 29?
And also, like,
25.
they're all living together when they're 25 and 29.
Yeah.
And also, OP, I was confused about that because OP kept saying, like, I'm in school. And I was like, I mean, I guess you could be at school at 25.
Well, yeah, if you're at Harvard Medical School, you'd be in school
That's
at 25.
true. But I was like, what? I was a little bit
You wouldn't know
confused.
anything about that dropout.
Dropped out of all these schools. Yeah, so OP was 19 in the story, and the sister was 21.
Makes so much more sense.
Makes more sense, yeah. Still crazy to be.
That's the tail end of when
Yeah.
this becomes acceptable.
Yeah,
I would expect that to be the last
yeah,
knockdown,
you better not do it
drag
again.
out fight
Yeah,
between the two of them.
yeah. But 25 and 29, I was like, this makes no sense.
Yeah,
At
and it's
all.
also like you need to know how to cook rice
You
by
got
25.
it. Yes.
Like-
Yeah, 19, I'm like, okay. Like, you're not even living on your own yet.
Yeah.
This makes a little bit more sense.
My twin sister's been in a relationship with her boyfriend for 9 years, but he still doesn't want to propose.
What's one more year? Make it 10, and then propose.
My 26 female twin sister, also 26 female, has been in a relationship with, we'll call him Grayson, for over 9 years. Yes, they did start as high school sweethearts, but even then, my sister has always been very clear about what she wants from a relationship. By the way, this comes from user Substitute Bunny on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, she wants the whole marriage, white picket fence, and kids deal. Conversely, I have always been the opposite, as most twins are. I even was bullied by her and my family that I was too opinionated for a man to ever fall in love with me. It got to the point where my sister said, I just don't ever see you getting married. You'll be one of those single people forever. My reason for not dating was not because of a lack of offers, but because I have a history of trauma, whereas my sister did not. I spent my college years traveling and working 2 jobs to save money and eventually moved somewhere else. Skip to my 21st birthday, which I spent alone in Moscow as I had been studying abroad there. I'd been dating an American guy for most of the summer, and my family knew it. When I came home, my sister claimed that it wasn't a real relationship and that she still considered me a single person who had never had a boyfriend before. I had several that I kept private from my family.
What's the deal with your sister?
I don't know.
What's the deal with your twin sister?
Well, your sister's got hangups. A few days later, I downloaded Bumble and instantly matched with a dorky vegetarian linguist, 24 male, who works for a refugee center who's exactly my type. And we go out on a date. We talked at a tea shop for 7 hours and were kicked out because the shop was closing.
That's cute.
That is kind of
Not
cute.
getting kicked out, but
That's
talking for
I mean,
7
that's
hours
cute.
at a tea shop.
We became official, and I was the first twin to move out of our parents' house.
Take that, sister.
And she's probably just jealous.
She's projecting.
She's jelly.
She's projecting.
This caused a lot of drama because both my parents and my sister ultimately wrote me out of the dating sphere. My dad even called me a sleut for hanging out with my boyfriend, even though I was still a virgin at the time.
So OP just can't get any W's. It's just like, yo, you suck. Sorry, OP, but you suck. Your other sister, who's been dating her guy, she's cool.
Yeah, everyone's got it out for OP. After a few months of dating, my boyfriend was convinced I was the woman he would marry. I had no objection because he's my favorite person in the world and has been wonderful at healing my PTSD and insecurities. I told him that under no circumstances could he propose to me before Grayson proposed to my sister. By the time both my sister and I are 23, my boyfriend is tired of waiting on Grayson and even asks him if he plans on proposing to my sister anytime in the future. The man says no, and my boyfriend discusses this with me. A few weeks later, he takes me on a beautiful camping trip and proposes with a custom-made ring.
Take that, Twin and Grayson.
My sister is excited because her boyfriend, who refuses to spend money on her, has cited that he won't get her a ring because they're too expensive. But mine only cost about $250 because I didn't go for diamonds. Instead, I have a moss agate as the center stone with sapphires and tanzanites on the sides.
I love that.
And I think we have all been exposed to the internet for long enough to know that the diamond market is incredibly inflated and also is really exploitive and terrible. She asks me to help her design a cheaper alternative engagement ring. We end up on a giant pink moissanite ring, and I know it will cost less than $200, but still looks gorgeous and similar to a diamond ring. She asked me to send Grayson the ring details so he can purchase it and propose with it when he's ready. At this time, my sister and Grayson are living in another state. She moved with him to support his career right out of college. My sister calls me the day after I give Grayson the ring details. She says that they had the worst fight ever over the ring. And my parents side with Grayson, saying my sister is not that much of a catch and it should be entirely up to Grayson when they get engaged.
What's up with the parents now? The parents are like fueling so much gasoline to fire that's like, all right, everyone sucks. Here you go. Daughters suck for some reason. Like, why do you just call it your daughters like that?
Yeah, I would feel
weird.
like you might want to let her down a little more gently than that. It's true. Sometimes people need a little cold water. Someone's like, why hasn't my boyfriend proposed after 9 years? It's like, well,
I feel like the cold water should have been splashed in my face maybe around year 3, 4, 5,
yeah,
6.
Who knows? How are you with
weird.
someone for 9 years and you don't want to marry them? Or
Maybe-
you're not already for all intents and
Maybe they
purposes?
just don't like marriage. I know there's people out there that just don't like marriage, like the idea of marriage.
I had a teacher who wasn't married, but like she was with her partner for like, I forget what they called it, but it's like, it's just, to me, it feels like it's just marriage with more words.
It's like a community.
No, we're not legally married, but we're technically married.
Like, yeah, I've met people like that.
Yeah.
It's like to each their own. If you think that's your ideal marriage or you are married but there's no document, fine.
This was an absolute betrayal in my eyes because everyone involved knows that my sister wants to get married and have kids as she enters her 30s. It caused a lot of tension around their 6th, 7th, and 8th dating anniversaries. They celebrated their 9th anniversary this past summer, and lo and behold, he does not propose to her. Also, they know that my boyfriend and I got our marriage license when I was 24, so we could file joint taxes and save up for a big wedding ceremony a few years later. Now it's 2024. I'm married to my husband, and my sister and Grayson have been dating since 2015. They are both 26. And there is still no talk of an engagement from Grayson's side. Real quick, knowing now that this is something that's been going on since they were 17, I feel like they might be in a situation of this is what I'm familiar with, this is what I'm comfortable with, and I'm not leaving. They're in the comfort zone.
Am I in love with you, or am I in love with the idea of you?
Gross. I know my sister bothers him about it, and I have proof because in their 9th anniversary Instagram post, my sister said 9 years and still no ring. If this man eventually proposes to her, will it be authentic, or is it just going to be a way for him to get her to shut up? I understand that 26 is still very young and that getting married at 24 is a young age, but both my sister and I were raised to be very mature and were also raised in the Mormon church. Neither of us was ever religious, but our parents are. It's a different kind of mentality than usual 20-year-olds. By the way, we have a different kind of mentality here on the live stream when we go live every weekday at 3 p.m. PST on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, and Twitch. Just tap our profile and you're in.
Guess what? We might even be live right now, but I want to find out, and you should maybe find out a little bit more. What's going to happen? I don't think they're going to get married.
I doubt it.
I don't think they're going to get married, and
I think if you were going to get married to this person, they probably would have done it a lot earlier, especially given their the Mormon background, because I mean, I went to school in Missouri with a lot of Mormon people and they love getting married early. They really do. They get married young. Given that my sister has always been transparent with Grayson about what she wants, this man cannot even promise to propose at some point. An engagement ring would at least show that he's committed to marriage with her. If he cannot do that, then he needs to bow out so my sister can find a man who wants the future she wants. Yes, I know my sister needs to recognize that she should leave him, but she's so in love with Grayson that my parents are convinced they will never get married, and my sister will be okay with that. Reddit, is my sister up for a shut up ring or even potentially no ring? I think that the no ring is what's most likely in the future.
No ring.
No
but
ring with Grayson.
I don't like how you're like, oh, Grayson should break up with her. I mean, I think they should just talk about it, one, first. But two, if she's pressuring him and she's expecting a ring, I feel like he's not going to do it.
At this point, if it's been years since
9 years.
the ring pressure began.
I would say
It's been like
take away the
3+ years.
I would say at least 3+ years.
Since
maybe 4 years. So
because it was 7, 8.
they started at 17.
So the 6, 7, 8. Yeah, it could be more.
I would say maybe
All these anniversaries, she's like waiting for the proposal, and it's just not happening.
Yeah.
So
especially since the sister's mindset is like, I want a dream wedding. I want the white picket
well, yeah,
fence,
she wants
I
the
want kids."
stereotypical.
If you're really just expecting that and it's not coming in his vocabulary, like it's not even being brought up on his end, I would leave. You're not getting what you want.
Yeah.
You're not getting what you want. I know you want something. I mean, you shouldn't have the expectation like I should get married immediately. But if you love someone and you seems like you do love them, but it seems like sister's at the middle mark and Grayson is at like 30%.
Oh, this is what I'll say. If you and Grayson are in love with each other and you guys do have a good relationship outside of the fact that he doesn't seem to want to propose and you're kind of, all about that, then maybe take a step back and analyze what exactly about marriage is so important to you, what aspects of it, what elements of it make it have that level of meaning for you, and then figure out if there's a way that you can find a way to that meaning within this relationship you have with Grayson without getting married or without breaking up and like calling it quits because you guys can't compromise on it or whatever.
Yeah, if it's a healthy relationship, if that's like the only flaw in the relationship is like Grayson doesn't want to get on a knee and propose. Like marriage is not on his like mindset right now.
Mm-hmm.
Just I think the sister needs to take a step back, or they need to see eye to eye, or at least talk about it and see. It just seems like, where's my ring? Where's my ring? Where's my ring?
I mean, if the relationship is good, it's like, keep going. But I feel like when a relationship gets to like 9 years, there's only like one of two things that it is. It's either a good relationship that's working and like they compromise and they work through issues and
you
whatever.
You guys have been at it for 9 years, but if you got,
or they're just stagnant and it's what they know, which I don't know. I would lean into that being the more likely case because they got together when they were 17.
You don't want to assume, but yeah, you get together young.
I mean, that would be my assumption. But if I were to make one.
But that's our take. That's the end of that story. Wow.
It is. That is the end of that story, and we do have another one.
That wasn't our story, but that's the end of that story. But we have another one.
I called out my sister's extreme jealousy. She did not take it well.
Well, that's all I got.
And that's all I have to say about that. Hi. I'll try to keep it as short as I can. I promise I'll clarify things if there are confusions, and sorry about them in advance. I'm 21 female, and I have 2 siblings. My sister is 24 and engaged. My brother is 28 and married to my sister-in-law who's 25. By the way, this comes from user Mysterious Stock 948 on the r/OKStorytime subreddit. My parents hosted a family luncheon to celebrate my sister's engagement at their house. I went early to help them set up, my brother and sister-in-law a little bit later than everyone else. My sister and her fiancé arrived last. Everything was going well and everyone was happy until my sister got a text and pulled me aside. She asked me if I could go outside and meet a friend of hers who's going to drop off something for her. I did. The something in question was a big ball of pure happiness, a St. Bernard dog with a cute little formal tie around his neck.
Why can't anyone do that for me?
What a cutie.
I want a big ball of energy and happiness.
As adorable as he was, I couldn't bring him in because my sister-in-law is allergic. Her allergy is not severe, but still, everyone in the family knows of it. I told the friend to please wait while I talked to my sister. She did not. I texted my sister that I can't bring him inside. She texted that it was fine to bring it in because it's a surprise and he's the newest addition to the family. Really quick, as someone who is allergic to dogs, what do you have to say about this?
Bringing that dog. I'm like, you know what? I'll keep my distance. My life is worth it. My life is worth seeing a precious dog. I am allergic to dogs, and it depends. But you've seen me. I get ugly.
Yeah,
I look like one too when I'm allergic. My allergies hit.
I insisted that I cannot bring the dog inside, and then I texted my brother about it because it had been 10 minutes, and I'm standing in the driveway with a big dog that would not stop licking my legs, not knowing what to do about it. From what I was told, inside, my brother pulled my sister aside and asked her not to bring the dog in, that she knows his wife is allergic, and she refused, saying that it's an open space and that sister-in-law will be fine. He then told her the news that sister-in-law is pregnant. I already knew, and they were waiting until she passed her first trimester. My sister then went outside, dragged the dog, and then me in when I resisted. My brother, seeing this, excused himself and left with my sister-in-law. We tried resuming the lunch after that, but it was awkward at best. When my sister and her fiance cut the cake, she grabbed her a glass of champagne to make a toast. The toast was her rambling about how selfish my brother and his wife were, that they couldn't let her have one day to herself and had to ruin and overshadow it, that they were not the first or last couple to get pregnant. Both of my parents tried to shush her, but she was on a roll and went on to call sister-in-law an attention seeker that just had to give the family the first grandchild. I finally had enough and told her that green isn't a good color on her. Ooh, and that she was going to choke on her jealousy one day, and then I got up and left. She called me a B on my way out. My mom called me after and told me that it was a bit harsh, even if she was harsher. She also suggested that the three of us siblings talk it out after things settled a bit. My dad is staying neutral. I haven't heard from relatives that were at the luncheon. Am I the a-hole? And we do have an update. I'm saying tentatively right now, not the a-hole.
Not the a-hole, but again.
Because honestly, the fact that she was pregnant and you brought the dog in anyway and she has an allergy, because I'm pretty sure that stuff can affect like the pregnancy and stuff. I don't think it's very common, but it can, just in the interest of being careful. I think it was really mad disrespectful to, after you were told specifically not to bring the dog inside because she's pregnant, to bring the dog inside anyway. And then, of course, they left. I would leave if that happened.
Yeah, the roles were reversed of my partner who was pregnant, and I'd be like, yeah, bring that dog in. But I'm like, I'll keep my distance. But if this is going to affect my partner and like she's pregnant, no. I would say no.
All right, let's get into the update. Hi, guys. It's been around a month or so, and to be honest, I don't have that much of an update, but a lot of people have been asking me about the doggo, and it's easier than telling people individually, so here it is. First things first, the update on my sibling situation. My brother and sister-in-law have gone in low contact with my sister until they get a proper apology, which hasn't happened yet, but I think it'll happen soon. My sister has been talking to my mom about wanting to be in our future nephew and / niece's life, so there's that at least. Also, my sister-in-law is officially out of her first trimester, and she and the baby are healthy and thriving, thankfully. She has been having a bit of a hard time when it comes to smells and pregnancy stuff, but I think that's to be expected. Don't come at me. That's just what I've read. We've also been planning a gender reveal party for next month, so we're just focusing on the positive stuff for now. As for my sister and I did send her an apology for how harsh I was with her at the party, and she accepted it and apologized for calling me a B, but it's been so dang weird when it comes to our dynamic, especially since she's suddenly all up in my business about who I'm sleeping with. But that's a whole other issue. Now for the awaited update, Barkley. I wonder if they named him after Chuck. Charles Barkley. Turns out the big fluff ball has an adorable bark, one you wouldn't expect when seeing him. Hence his name. Oh, they didn't name him after Charles Barkley.
That's fine. Barkley is an adorable name.
As some of you predicted, my sister was not up for the massive job that is taking care of a St. Bernard, and a week and a half after the party, she called and asked me to find him another home. I volunteer at a shelter and know a lot of people who would love to adopt. By the way, we want to adopt you into our family, and you can do so by joining us live every weekday at 3 p.m. PST when we go live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and TikTok. Just tap our profile.
Easy. On all 4 of them even. Try it.
Do it all 4 at the same time.
Do it for Barkley.
We might even be live right now, but before you go check on that, we have a little bit of story left.
It seems like everything was a heat of the moment kind of thing and kind of blew out of proportion when it shouldn't have. And things are still like settling, but things will be fine. That's literally what I'm taking it.
Yeah, I think things will inevitably chill out. I'm hoping the story ends with Barkley going to OP. A St. Bernard is that's a lot of dog.
It's a lot of dog and a lot of fur. I'll tell you that right now. I don't want to live around that.
But man, they are so
adorable.
They're very cute.
I love big doofus dogs.
OP, not an a-hole. I think calling your sister jealous after she goes on a tirade about your brother and his wife that she had already just disrespected, I don't think that makes you an a-hole at all.
Guess what? This was just a sibling. This was
yeah.
just a sibling argument, and I think this is all going to be fine.
I wonder if she's the golden child, because it was weird to me, too, that her mom was like, it was a little harsh. But it's like, did you just hear how she went off on our brother? And
Maybe because OP just didn't react as the way the sister reacted. Maybe your sister reacted like very like out of pocket, and then like OP was like, okay, this is just another argument that we usually have. So I don't know, but this seems like a very like on a scale of 1 to 10 from like arguments that we always get. This seems like a 3.
yeah, this is going to blow over for sure.
Yeah, everyone's gonna be fine as long as everyone is communicating and everyone is on the same page, which it seems like, which is good.
Good. Let's finish this story. I honestly wanted to keep him myself because I've grown attached, but I live in an apartment right now, and not only would it be impossible, it would also be cruel to keep him cooped up like that, which a lot of people who live in apartments could learn something about. Luckily, a friend of a friend has the space for him to be happy and safe, and took him in with the promise of letting me see him whenever we're both free. And now I get random pics and videos of Barkley in his element, all happy and bark fighting with the guys next door's neighbor's Yorkie. Don't worry, there's fences between them. So yeah, just wanted to say thank you guys for all the advice and opinions. I appreciate all of you. And that
was
the
good.
end of that story. What a wonderful story that
It wasn't. I mean, there's always gonna be a little spiciness in there, but that was mild.
Yeah, I don't think, no one's, I mean, they're going low contact with the sister, which I would do too if I found out she made a whole spiel about how we're like, what? Like, you
Also-
literally disregarded the health and well-being of my pregnant wife and her unborn child. You need to say sorry.
Yeah, you need to apologize, but I think it's going to be coming. I think just some space was needed. Great. Apologies are in pursuit or already have been done. And everyone loves everyone. And Barkley has a nice home. Yeah, I think this was like a sibling argument.
Yeah.
There's like a simple sibling argument. No one got hurt. Everyone is okay. I think for the baby, I think everyone just wants like, well, let's just focus on that. After that's done, things are going to blow over. Yada, yada, yada. That's what I can see.
And that is the end of that story.
My wife and sister don't get along, and I don't know what to do.
Break up with both of them.
Oh, okay. My wife, 27, and I, 26, have been together for 5 years now, and I just got married earlier this spring. I guess I'll start from the beginning. At first, my mom and my sister did not like my wife at all. She's from Russia, so to most Americans, she can come off as a bit cold and uninviting, even to me at first. As I got to know her, though, she really showed me her fun and goofy side
Ooh.
and opened up to me a lot, as she eventually did with my family as they got to know each other. By the way, this comes from Tumbleweed Live 433 on the OK Storytime subreddit. So our relationship, as most, has definitely been anything but perfect. One thing I noticed was that for the first 2 years of our relationship, we had hardly had a single fight, which I thought was a great sign, as none of my relationships had been that way previously. Still, my family didn't like her though. We had been living with my parents for most of our relationship. For those of you that have experienced the same thing, you know how stressful it can be. We paid rent, and my wife actually ran her business out of the house in a separate room that she would pay extra for. My mom would always get upset though that she wouldn't clean up the house in her downtime, even if it was other people's messes. She would also get upset that my wife wouldn't share her food or cook for other people when she would make dinners and small things like that. Although I think it would be nice for my wife to do these things from time to time, it shouldn't be expected. Also, in her defense, she was trying to lose weight and had a very strict diet at the time, so she had to weigh her food and portion things out correctly. Groceries are also very expensive where we live, and we were trying to save up to move out of the house one day. So that's where the most arguments between my mom and us would be about. Now that we've moved out of my house, though, the relationship between my mom and my wife is great. Who would have thought? Okay, so it's not an issue now.
Great.
I just wanted to give that context to show how my wife's relationship is with other people in my family, so you can tell me your opinions on who is in the wrong here or what to do. Now on to the topic of my sister and my wife. As I said before, my sister never really liked my wife that much. They just didn't click, which is totally fine with me. I don't need them to be besties, but to get along when they're around each other would be nice. I'm going to fast forward to about a year ago, 6 months before our marriage. We had been moved out of the house for almost a year now. We had also picked up a husky puppy as soon as we moved in. Bad idea. Little did we know that huskies were one of the most difficult breeds to deal with. So moving into a half-finished house, my grandma owns it, and I've been renovating cultivating it for about 6 months before we moved in. And my wife pretty much raising the pup on her own since she worked from home at the time was causing a lot of stress in our lives. I'm also very OCD, and my wife was not picking up after herself. Now I was seeing what my mom was talking about.
Oh.
And this was causing a lot of stress for me, having to pick up after her constantly. I felt like I had to be my mom, telling her what to do all the time, and I hated it. So after the puppy could be on his own, about 6 months after we got him, my wife decided to pick up a job working for a boat tour company so she could get out of the house for a bit. I told her to go for it. It was about an hour and a half drive, and some days she would get off at 9 p.m. and have to work the next day at 5 a.m. So she would stay the night at a friend's house near her work on those nights. Long hours, yeah.
Yeah, jeez.
Of course, I was hesitant about this at first because I have been cheated on in the past, but I decided that if I couldn't trust her, then she wasn't the one for me. I mean, yeah, you're married at this point.
You're married.
You're full married.
Yeah.
I should also note that my wife is much more extroverted than me in some ways. She loves to go out and dance with her friends, where I would much prefer staying home for the night. We both are very outdoorsy though, so we would bond in that way, going camping, hiking, and to the beach. But every time she asked me to go out and dance with her and hang out with her friends, I would say no, which I later realized was just not very considerate on my end, and probably showed her that I hadn't had as much interest in her as I did before. Fast forward this year, 1 week before the wedding, they're not married yet, I guess. Things were a bit stressful between us due to planning it completely by ourselves and having a pretty tight budget to make this dream wedding happen that wouldn't put us in debt or anything like that. My sister calls me and says she needs to talk to me one-on-one. We meet up. She tells me that she heard a rumor that my wife cheated on me with someone at work. Whoa.
I was not expecting cheating.
I didn't expect that to be, it kind of
Honeybee
makes sense why she
85
doesn't like her then.
Says I'm calling cheating a while ago.
You got it. You nailed it.
Well, we don't know.
Well, we don't know if it's
We
true.
don't know
We
if
don't
it's
know if it's
true.
true. There's only
Not
a rumor.
confirmed yet.
She shows me the guy. We both cry. I drive home and confront my wife about it. My wife tells me nothing happened other than some harmless flirting. The fact that flirting happened is not looking good for you, girl.
Well, it's the fact that there's a
And that she
rumor
didn't tell
about
her.
you cheating on
Yes.
someone, and you're like,
I just
it's-
flirted.
Well, I only flirted.
Yeah, doesn't look
So
good.
there is something that
Mhm.
happened. Yeah.
Which I can't blame her for, as I have done the same before at
Oh.
my job during our rough patches.
Okay.
This guy she supposedly cheated on me with also has a wife and 3 kids. Oof. Not that that stopped anyone before, but this is a small town and there are no cheap motels or anything like that to stay for the night. I'm not saying they couldn't pull it off, but to do it at his home would be unlikely, or at a hotel would be unlikely. Then I tell my close friends about it to get their opinions on the situation. One of them calls me and tells me that he would bet that it is true, and tells me a story I've never heard before. One day, my wife got wasted and texted him to come over and completely came on to him.
Whoa. Okay.
And he came over? She was like, come over. And he was like, okay.
Yeah.
She was
So I was making
totally
out with
yeah.
your wife, and then I realized she was cheating on
She
you.
was cheating on you. And I wouldn't do that to my best friend. And so we kissed a little bit more. And I said, stop.
It's one thing to cheat on a partner, to cheat on them with their friend. It's like a whole nother level
Messy.
of disrespect.
Messed up. Luckily, I keep my circle close, and he refused and sent her on her way.
Only after a couple kisses.
Yeah, just a couple smooch. He said he never told me about it because he didn't want it to ruin mine and his relationship. I was his best friend here. I thanked him for telling me. Now I'm freaking pissed. I knew she was lying. I confronted her about it and she admitted to what my friend had told me, but still denied the rumor my sister had heard. Obviously, she had to, as this was coming directly from my friend and not some rumor he had heard. I left and stayed the night at my sister's to give us both some time to think. Now, I know what you're all probably thinking at this point. I would be stupid to stay with her. She's a cheater. I might have no self-esteem, but I like to try to put myself in other people's perspectives. At the time of both of these things supposedly happening, I was almost completely neglecting her, not truly showing my love for her, and not going out of my way to make her feel special. She'd always done so for me, and I still loved her. The thing is, if what happened was you were neglecting her, she cheated on you, and then came to you and said, oh my God, this happened, let's figure out what we need to do to fix our relationship, that's a different story. But it seems like you were being neglectful, she cheated on you, went about her day, and then you found out, and she was like, nope, didn't do that, couldn't be me.
But I mean, it's still not confirmed if that is true.
Yeah, that's just
But
true.
it is confirmed that she did try to cheat with his friend.
Yeah. The next day, I came back home and we talked. The wedding was in a week. I had family from all over flying in.
Damn.
We had all this money put into the wedding that there's no way we could refund. My wife was doing everything she could to make it up to me. She apologized to my sister, to my friend that she came on to. She got a hold of the guy that she supposedly cheated on me with and let him know of the situation. He texted me to deny the accusations, though that meant little since he had a wife and 3 kids. He had every reason to deny it.
Yes.
She even came to work with me that day and genuinely helped me finish my job. I have my own business that's very labor intensive and not easy by any means. I was still unsure, but she was taking all the right steps towards making things better between us. I decided to go through with the ceremony, but not sign any papers since we had so much time, money, and family coming out to see us, and their money as well. Our wedding was almost perfect.
Besides the fact she
But
tried
she
to
cheated
cheat on you.
Everything went beautiful until the next day. We got a text from the person watching our dog to let us know that he had escaped and got hit by a truck and passed.
Shut up.
I loved that dog like a son. It had taken us so much time and energy to get him to where he was, and although he wasn't as behaved as I would have liked him to be, we had an unbreakable bond. This broke us. Me especially, given what I had just gone through. In a way, though, I think it allowed us to bond more through the grief and kind of forget what happened prior to the wedding. Not completely, as I told her my conditions as to what I would be comfortable with her doing for us to possibly sign papers and be legally married one day. She quit her job working on the boats, her suggestion, and went back to working at the house. She didn't go out late with her friends anymore. She really started to help around the house more, and we had a lot of difficult conversations to get to where we are now. Post-wedding, I would say, despite my beautiful little boy passing, our relationship had been better than it had been in a long time. I decided it was time to sign the papers. I didn't know for sure whether she had actually cheated on me. This is a small town after all, and rumors start very easily.
Well, she tried to, and that's confirmed.
Yeah, regardless of whether she actually went through it, she tried.
Yeah.
My wife isn't from here, and she's very beautiful. I could definitely see the other girls seeing her flirt a bit with some guy and starting a rumor about them hooking up. I wasn't discounting the fact that she could be lying still, but I loved her and forgave her for it. I said if I heard about anything happening ever again, I would leave. No questions asked. She understood. My sister, however, never forgave her for this. At this point, the only people who knew about the situation were her, my wife, my sister, and a couple of my close friends, and I intended to keep it that way as it was nobody else's business. My sister threatened to tell my family as she said she couldn't hold it in anymore because everyone would ask her why she doesn't like my wife and she couldn't answer. I was upset at first but understood her position, so I told my wife she should probably tell them first to get ahead of the situation.
I feel like that's not the sister's
That is not her place at all.
To tell the
That
family.
is so inappropriate of her. Like, you cannot like your brother's wife. That's fine. But like,
yeah, it's not your
to actively
business
try and
or your
ruin the
volition
relationship.
to be able to tell other
Yeah.
people about something they're deciding as a couple
To work through.
to work through.
Oh my God. That's actually really annoying.
But I'm more upset about the dog.
That's like the worst part of the story.
Yeah, I'm sad.
My wife met with my mom and told her everything. I think she was surprised when my mom forgave her pretty easily and told her that it wasn't her business in the first place. There is another dynamic to the situation. Remember how I told you we live in a small town? Well, here's a love triangle for you. My sister had an ex-boyfriend before her now husband. They were best friends before my sister and her husband started dating. Obviously, they aren't friends anymore. Anyways, I still get along with her ex-boyfriend and we hang out every so often. My wife also happens to get along very well with his now girlfriend and they're friends. She was actually maid of honor at her wedding.
Oh, this is gonna get sticky.
Yeah.
Ah.
So they get invited to some things that my sister and her husband are also invited to. My sister's ex-boyfriend and his girlfriend are completely fine with it at this point, as it's been half a decade since they broke up, and my sister is married now anyways. Every time they're invited, though, my sister gets upset with my wife for inviting them, even though my wife gives her a heads up beforehand that they will be invited out of respect. I should also note that my sister has been a devout Christian as of the last 2 years since she married her husband, and he and his family are all religious as well. I am not religious myself, but I don't see any issue with it, other than the fact that my sister has become, well, let's just say she's changed a lot since her newfound faith. My mom and I agree that this change is not for the better. Anyway, that actually adds a lot of context into it. If she, the cheating.
For her, like, like huge
imposing a
judgment
moral judgment.
of
Yeah.
the cheating. because Jesus would not approve.
Anyways, to bring it back around, this has been a constant issue since the wedding. My sisters tried to meet up with my wife and talk things out, but according to her, every time they talk, things go well, and my wife F's it up by inviting her ex-boyfriend / his girlfriend to the same parties they attend. My sister also claims that my wife has lied to her on a couple occasions, which is true, but they are white lies regarding being busy when my sister invites her to church or Bible studies or things of that nature.
So
She's
she's
like,
a
can you
liar.
come to Bible study? And she's like, ooh, I've got work.
Yeah, I need to pick up the dog
groceries.
from the cleaner. They're like, she's dead. And we're like, oh, I need to do something else.
You know, it goes. My wife is not religious either, and we both are pretty agnostic in our faith. By the way, you should have faith that we will be live every weekday at 3 p.m. PST on YouTube. Just tap our profile, and also Facebook and TikTok. I know that there's a lot to the story and kind of spiraled out of control and went more back to my relationship with my wife. I guess it's been looming over me as I'm still uncertain about everything and looking for outside opinions. But I am open to opinions about it all. Just please no harsh words or judgment. Thanks, everyone. Yeah, it seems like, your sister's being kind of super judgmental and sticking her nose where it doesn't belong. And she's allowed to be protective of you, but to the point where she's actively trying to sabotage your relationship and, what you've already discussed with your wife and the agreements that you've made, that's too far. But that's the end of that story.
My sister and her friends are furious with me for eating at a hospital cafeteria.
Well, are you in the hospital?
They make me sick. I don't care. They make me sick.
Oh.
Okay, hear me out. I work just a few blocks away from the hospital, and I get there pretty quickly by bicycle. The cafeteria is quaint, and it has good prices. So usually once a week or so, I'll go there for lunch. The food isn't what I would call amazing, but they have a nice variety from time to time. The staff even recognizes me, and they're always pleasant. They don't mind that I'm just there for lunch, and it's far quieter eating there than at any local restaurant. I'm on the spectrum. I don't like loud noises, so the quiet lunches in this place are a godsend for me on some days. By the way, this comes from same philosopher 927 on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So recently my sister found out that I've been eating at the hospital. My sister went off on me over how hospital cafeterias are only supposed to be there for the people who are at the hospital because they need to be. I retorted that I was giving them business, and it's not like I was taking the food out of the mouths of patients.
Right, exactly.
But the question is, should you do that? I only went there once a week, so what was the big deal? But she still insisted that I was wrong. So then she got our parents involved, and they are siding with her. They are telling me that I should only be eating at the hospital if I had an actual reason to be there. I told them they were all crazy, and it was just normal food that I was paying for. But now neither they or I are backing down, and I'm torn. Am I the a-hole for going to eat lunch in a hospital cafeteria once a week just because I work nearby? There is an update, and let me tell you something, that it gets a lot worse. You think like, oh, this is going to be some benign. No, we are not even close to we're not even a quarter of the way through it yet. Update. Now, the situation escalated so radically that I cannot believe something so dumb actually happened. My sister did the pettiest thing she's ever done to me, and for completely undeserved reasons too. So when my sister found out that I was eating at the hospital cafeteria, she went off on me over how that food is just for the people who are at the hospital because they need to be. We ended up in a big argument about it, which I told her it wasn't like I was taking food from the mouths of patients. Then she went to our parents to get them on her side like always, and they immediately sided with her just like I thought they would. They backed her up on how the hospital cafeteria was not a place to go eating casually, and we had a big argument. They spent days hounding me and telling me that I was wrong, and demanded that I stop. So we went to Reddit. We wanted to get the truth. And here I learned that not only was I not doing anything wrong, but it's a very common thing for people to just go and eat at hospital cafeterias just because they like it.
Is that common?
I hope the situation would just fade away. But a few days later, my sister called me asking if I had stopped eating at the hospital, and I said no. And then it started all over again. My parents then called me fuming and acting like I was supposed to stop going because they said so. I reminded them that I don't live under their roof anymore. And this is exactly the kind of reason why I moved out. They take my sister's side in almost everything.
Well, that's fair. I just feel that you keep telling me I can't eat at these cafeterias. I can't live like this.
They huffed and puffed about it. This time, the fight didn't stay at home, though. Other relatives found out because my sister tried to broaden her support. She was so set on enforcing her will upon me that she went looking for help from other relatives. But our parents were the only ones on our side, and my uncle personally admonished my parents and her over the phone for it once I told him what had actually happened. He told them that they were only siding with my sister because she's their favorite. At least we got one family member on OP's side. And they're terrible parents for ever playing favorites to begin with. Then cousin went to eat with me at the hospital cafeteria and said he'd like to go there once a week too, as he also works nearby and bicycles everywhere. The war is growing.
The snowball is starting to grow.
So we've run into each other at lunch there already since then. He was actually rather pleased to find out the food was made healthier than most other places. He's kind of a picky eater. So this place is kind of like his new lunch hangout. And my sister got even angrier after finding out that there were other people in the family eating at the hospital now too. But once outed, my parents backed down due to the embarrassment. They apologized to me, gave me some malarkey that they honestly thought eating at the hospital was weird, and that they felt like they just needed to defend my sister. I told him that they'd been placating my sister for so long that it's all they do whenever she starts something with anyone. She's been treating me like a condescending control freak and a bully since we were teenagers, even though I'm older than her, and they just keep enabling that. But I won't put up with it anymore. My parents ended up conceding and apologized. Then they made my sister apologize to me too, and I could tell she hated every second of it because he tried to speak to me through her teeth at first. Later on, my parents invited me to dinner as another form of an apology, but it felt more like a show to look good for the rest of the family because they told everyone about it even before it happened. The dinner was great. I can't deny.
Dinner was great.
No,
surprisingly better than hospital cafeteria food, which was a shock to me.
Oh my God. My parents had cooked a turkey, arguably one of my favorite things to eat. I love the drumsticks slathered in gravy. And yeah, I'm kind of a pig when I eat them, but I can't help it. My sister always thought it was hilarious. And it was one of the few things I don't mind her laughing about. So I thought nothing of why she was so giggly at dinner. Later after that family dinner, I noticed that my bike was missing. Put some ICUs in the chat. I'd parked it in the backyard out of sight, but it was just gone. I freaked out because it was my only mode of transportation. My parents did panic a bit with me, but my sister seemed just the opposite. She actually looked happy and started giggling.
The worst poker face of all time.
I immediately suspected her, but she played innocent. She even gave the, "I can't believe you'd think I'd do something like that" line. Now, I already knew that she was extremely petty, the sister, but this was a whole new level of it for her. So I said that I was going to go over to the neighbor because I know they have cameras and they had seen what happened. And then I'd call the cops. My sister suddenly looked panicked and I got mad and said I knew it was her and demanded my bike back. She started crying and saying that she didn't do anything, and my parents were immediately taking her side while scolding me for daring to accuse her. So I had had enough and said I was going to the neighbors. So I was going to the neighbors to ask to check their cameras, and then I would be calling the police. My sister finally fessed up and called me to come back. I didn't know. Please don't do it.
Yeah, right.
About to get the hammer of justice, little lady. The looks on our parents' faces after they had just offended her were priceless. My sister said that she was so angry at me for having made her apologize for something she believed she was right about. She had planned to have a couple of her friends to come and grab my bike during dinner. She said her friends were in a minivan with it just down the street. She then started saying that I couldn't call police on her anyway because I'm her big brother. Our parents backed that up too. But I pulled out my phone and I started marching outside again. They ran after me with my sister begging and crying for me to stop. I called her a brat. And then I told my parents I couldn't believe they were still defending her when she was acting this way. Our parents finally hit their enabling limit with her and told her to make her friends bring my bike back immediately. She got on her phone while sniffling and called her friends up. But then she suddenly ran into her room to talk to them. I couldn't hear a thing she said through the door because it was all whispers, and our parents looked very worried too. My sister would never have willingly admitted that she had stolen my bike. She just kept sobbing that it was only a prank over and over again. It's just a prank, bro.
Literally.
It's brother, my kid, my flesh and blood.
Now that I've been caught, especially, it's just a prank.
That's it. And she also kept using the excuse that it's just a cheap bike anyways. I bought it used some months ago for $50, but it's in great shape. Respect. And it's my main mode of transportation. My sister kept looking at our parents for backup, and that time they just couldn't. So she just slumped down in a chair, hugging her knees and waiting for the rest of us. My sister looked increasingly freaked out the longer her friends took to bring my bike back and was repeatedly texting them. Even though my sister said her friends were just down the street, it took them roughly an hour to bring my bike back. They finally pulled up in the minivan with my bike shoved in the back, and it was completely soaked and all muddy. Like it had been just pulled out of a wet, muddy ditch.
Yeah. Destruction of property type beat?
I would love to press play on that.
Yeah.
That would be great. I would play that on repeat.
Yeah, I
Yikes. The bike is a 700C, so it's too tall for either of them to ride. So they just drove right up and stole the bike by dragging it into the van so fast, as fast as they could before taking off. I say they stole it because I was almost certain in the moment my sister had told them to dispose of my bike. Had I not pointed out the neighbors have cameras, I may have not gotten it back. Now, when her friends finally did arrive, their legs were all muddy and wet and nearly up to their knees. They both begged me not to report them to the police for taking the bike. I asked while recording them to tell me the truth and pointed to the neighbor's cameras. Did my sister want them to get rid of my bike? They broke down and said yes. OP is like a master interrogator right now, just cracking the truth. And they look, yeah, you think you're so tough? You and the little friend's like, oh yeah, let's go steal his bike. You're squealing like a freaking pig. They broke down and say yes. My sister wanted him to take the bike and dump it in a pond a few miles away, and they had to go back and get it when they realized they were caught. My bike had been nearly completely submerged in muddy water. Thankfully, I didn't have many added accessories on it other than a detachable headlight and my water bottle, but the water bottle was missing. I wasn't surprised by what my sister's friends told me, and I had told them to tell our parents too. They laid into my sister till she was bawling on the floor, kicking and pounding like a toddler. I had never seen my sister act like that since she was actually a toddler, and I found it mortifying that she was still like this on the inside. Then she shut herself in her room. Her friends were banned from ever coming to my parents' house again. Then my sister was forced to come out of our room by our mother, and make another big apology to me. So our father then forced her to wash and oil my bike from stem to stern under his supervision while I took apart the headlight and cleaned it out to dry it. By the time my sister was done, it was dark outside. She glared at me like I was the devil when she came back in the house. But our parents shut her attitude right down and said they'd never been more embarrassed by her in their lives. She went back to crying in her room, and I had a very frank discussion with my parents about my sister's childlike behavior and how it stemmed from their spoiling and enabling. I said I couldn't believe I had to be the voice of reason, but the fact that she was on the floor crying like a toddler, kicking and pounding, showed me that she's still mentally a child because of them. And they kept making me the scapegoat when she screwed up, so she barely knows any sense of accountability. For once, they didn't argue with me about it. And then my father silently drove me and my bike back to my apartment with his SUV. He also gave me some money to replace my bike's missing water bottle before we parted. Get him a new freaking bike, bro.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
I think we need a little bit more there.
We need more than like $10 for a water bottle.
Come on.
Okay. Yikes. So my sister and her clique used to harass me a fair bit whenever we ran into each other. They made fun of me as a group whenever possible, and I usually just ignored them because they bored me, and that really seemed to tick them off. But after the bike incident, I got sent numerous messages from numbers I don't know, cussing me out for making my sister cry over a silly prank.
A silly prank of you throwing my bike into a pond, hoping I never have it again.
It's just a prank, bro.
What?
Haha, we're
And
supposed to
it's
laugh.
OP's
Haha.
only form of transportation, going to work, everything. Like, my God. Knowing her, my sister probably fed everyone she knew a very different story on what actually happened. I texted lengthy replies of what actually happened and even stated I have recordings of her friends admitting the truth. Send it. Send it, send it, send it all.
Do it.
Send it to everyone. Mass text. Some people at my sister's college found out what actually went down. I see you in the chat.
Ooh.
Maybe from texts, maybe from her friends who spilled the beans, but it embarrassed my sister so much that she came home having a crying tantrum about how people there were calling her and her friends bees and bike thieves. I may not have gone to college.
Wait, I'm sorry. Was that what was that sound? Is that the sound of the consequences of your actions showing up?
Oh
Wait. You're not used to that, are you? Oh, well, hey, welcome to reality.
yeah. That's what happens.
You get what you freaking deserve.
God. Now, I may not have gone to college, but I know students who need them and are very protective of their bikes. A lot of them live on shoestring budgets after all. My sister said someone even joked that they shouldn't leave a bike around her because it might just disappear if she had to apologize to someone.
Yes.
That's fire.
Yes.
Great humor.
This is the proper use of shame.
Yes.
For real.
My sister ended up so upset that she refused to leave her room for 3 days to have her pity party. My parents called me up to try and turn everything on me again. I reminded them about the discussion we had just days before and that they needed to stop babying her and let her deal with the repercussions of her own actions. If she fails at her classes again, it's because she's not trying like she should be. Then I went off on them how they were just looking for someone to blame to make her feel better. She made the problem, not me, and I wasn't going to be the one they make the scapegoat anymore. My sister is an adult and she needs to act like it. They sounded defeated and then apologized before hanging up the call. Looks like they were genuinely hoping that I'd just sit back and take the blame so my sister would get better. But I never will again. By the way, you can never take anyone's crap again. And join us live every weekday at 3 p.m. PST. Just tap our profile. We're on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok. Join right now. Join the party. But Dakota.
Yes.
We have to talk.
Let's talk.
We have to communicate, brother. Wow.
Indeed.
What did we just witness?
I think we witnessed the end result of when parents like ruin their kid.
Yeah.
In like the way where instead of like it's kind of its own form of neglect in that you've neglected to teach your kid how the world functions. Like,
Definitely.
Like you throwing a tantrum because you have to throw because you have to make an apology at college age. Like she's behaving like an 8-year-old.
Straight up.
And even then at 8 years old, it's still like, all right, we should be understanding how to be like nice to people by 8.
Honestly, 8-year-old,
right?
That's a compliment for her. Like she is acting like pure toddler energy right here.
This is Terrible 2's type scenario.
Absolutely.
But like, I don't see a path forward other than her like it because the parents need to give the cold water. I don't even think the parents can. I think they are beyond repair. Like their fundamental relationship and dynamic with their daughter is so broken that I don't think they can do anything to help her at this point.
So let me ask you this. Like, it seems pretty clear that like maybe there's more incidences where she embarrasses herself again, but it doesn't show signs of her like stopping. Do we go like low to no contact? Do you think we go
Yeah, no, I would go no contact.
I would do
with my
that too.
sister
Yeah,
until she
100%. She doesn't
grows up.
deserve. She doesn't want to talk to me. She wants to
Yeah.
just bully me.
Yeah, but let's finish this story. Now, my parents are trying to pretend this all never happened, and my sister, as well as her clique, are avoiding me at all costs, which I suppose is fine with me because I don't want any more drama. But the next time something like this happens from him, I won't take it from him. Okay?
And that's the end of the story.
That is a mic drop right there. That is a mic drop right there.
I won't take it from him.
I like
Wow.
it. As good as it can end. I think.
I think the sister might. Yeah, you know what? I'll just leave it at that. That is the best way that it could end.
She's
Yeah.
got to learn some way,
She's got to learn.
She's yeah.
or she doesn't care.
Got to learn,
Whatever.
and it's not OP's job either.
Exactly.
Not at all.
So
It looks like she's gonna have to learn the hard way, which is all of the people around her that she used to think thought she was cool are not gonna be like, oh yeah, it's you, the weird bike thief.
dude, the fact that these people give, like, if my friend was like, oh hey, I'm gonna like take my brother's bike and like hide it in like a lake with mud and stuff, I'd be like, no.
Well, at first, wouldn't you'd be like, well, what did he do?
Yeah,
Did
like
he do something?
Why?
Yeah, he's eating lunch at a hospital once a week.
My girlfriend's sister is going to stay in our house for weeks without informing me?
Girlfriend's sister? Stepsis?
Step bro, I'm stuck in the dryer. So, my, male 30, and my partner, female 26, live in a country far away from both of our families. We live in a tiny one-bed flat, which is, for all intents and all purposes, a studio, glass partition wall. It's pretty cramped even for two of us. I also pay all the rent. My partner covers food and a couple of bills, far less overall, and far less over the course of our relationship due to me earning considerably more. My girlfriend has spent a couple of weeks seeing said sister in another country. Her sister is doing some traveling and then had planned to come and stay with us. I've been given no dates and wasn't asked if this was okay or even how I felt about it. By the way, this comes from user Midnight Space Owl 76 on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, I was pretty stressed out about it. I work long hours in a stressful position, which includes once a week, on average, 14-hour work shifts and 2 sets of night shifts, so needing to sleep during the day, during the time she plans to come. I'm a very introverted person and value my free space. I would have to go to the bathroom to get changed because of that glass partition. Again, it's a very tiny, cramped space. I eventually told her how I was feeling, explained that I absolutely wanted her to spend time with her sister, but asked that we consider another workaround. She was disappointed, but seemed to understand to some extent.
Okay, all right. Respecting boundaries.
Communicating your feelings.
Opie's covering all his bases here.
Good. Today, before she boards her flight home, she tells me she's sad, that she's crying, and I ask why? Because she's gonna miss her family? I'm like, well, you're gonna see your sister again in a few weeks. To which she responds with a screenshot of her and her sister talking about how upset they are, that they just wanted to spend time together, but since I'm stressed, then they will have to just cut their time short together and how much this sucks for them. Immediately after, she's offline and on her flight. They have just spent 2 weeks off work together and her sister's planning on traveling for 3 weeks alone before coming here. She just got a promotion, which is doubling her salary. I feel that if it's so important to spend time together with her sister, she should sacrifice some of her personal travel time and pay for her accommodation here, and my girlfriend could contribute what she can also.
Little girl's place, you know,
Yeah.
little Airbnb.
You want to enjoy your trip. I mean, I know you want to spend time together, but you want to enjoy your trip, not make everyone stressed out.
And OP is a workhorse. He needs his rest.
He needs his nappies. But no, it's my fault they can't have fun together. I feel incredibly guilt-tripped and annoyed that she didn't even think to ask me or consider how I might feel about this. If we had space, I would have no problem. Her friend stayed last year for a month when we had 2 bedrooms. I still don't even know when she's planning to come, for how long, where she will sleep. Our sofa is not big enough for an adult to sleep on. Anyway, I went on a bit of a rant explaining how I felt about the whole situation. Am I being unreasonable in thinking this is not cool? And we have some OP's comments and some comments here.
Comment below your thoughts. Keon, is he overreacting a touch?
If I'm in a tight space, like if there is no other workaround, maybe for like a day, like maybe like a day or 2, great.
3 days?
Like I said, let's make a workaround here. I'm not, stop it. But try and find a better housing accommodation, especially if she, again, just got a raise or, again, she's making some money. Maybe even Airbnb or like a hostel, something like that nearby. It's going to be better for everyone because, one, you're not going to get upset. The sister shouldn't get upset. She's going to be living in a better spot. And then your wife or girlfriend, your partner, is going to be like, okay, great.
It just seems like OP feels like he's being used a little bit. He wouldn't have mentioned how much he pays for the apartment and everything if he didn't feel like he was being used.
But yeah, this is also, you're paying for a lot of it. Again, if it was like for a day or maybe 2 days.
3 days.
Stop it, 2 days. 2 days tops, bite your tongue. You're like, okay, I can live with that.
Yeah.
But if it's for like a full time,
I thought it was 2 weeks, it sounded like.
or however long, if it's more than that, where you're in a tight, cramped place and you're like, you're just making this livable, adding a third person is going to make this very stressed out.
Yeah.
It's not worth it.
Not worth it for your peace.
I was going to say, you told your partner how you feel.
Yeah.
And they're still like, no, this is still happening. That's not fair. We have some comments here. Commenter said, not the a-hole. Your partner invited her sister over despite the logistical limitations without discussing with you first. It's your home too. It doesn't seem like there's a budget issue, as you mentioned, that your sister recently got promoted and doubled her salary, which means sister could have booked a nearby hotel and your partner could have stayed with her for a few days. Worst, I think, is your partner throwing you under the bus in her exchange with the sister instead of acknowledging her part in creating this situation in the first place. OP says, thank you for the reassurance. I think I was definitely an a-hole in some of the reactionary comments, and I'll apologize for those, but I agree. I don't think I'm at fault for the root issue here, despite being made to feel that I am. Commentary again, not the a-hole. I would be really frustrated and upset if my partner tried to make a unilateral decision like this for a shared space, especially one so tiny. This kind of behavior comes across as inconsiderate and lacking in maturity, especially given how she placed the blame on you rather than taking accountability. I would have a sit-down talk with your girlfriend and really lay it out. Ask her how she would feel if you invited a male friend or brother to stay there and how it would appear that you expected her to just deal with the situation as uncomfortable as it might be. Ask her how considerate that would be. Offer her no judgment. Just try to understand and help her understand why you felt the way you felt. OP says, thank you for the thought-out response. Definitely going to sit down and talk about it. Unfortunately, I jumped right into sending a load of reactionary messages, which were immature in themselves. Thankfully, we have been able to unsend them, and so I will be doing just what you say and having no judgment to lay out how I feel and why. Another commenter says, especially if there's no way to close off the bedroom and main financial provider needs to sleep during the day. The girlfriend is being selfish and entitled for inviting her sister without a conversation and agreement from her boyfriend. And then for the guilt tripping, OP says, this is what really got me. Nights are hard enough in a relationship anyway. I'm also in healthcare, so I really need to optimize my sleep to be able to perform. I'm just baffled. Commenter states, have you asked about her sleeping arrangements? Because now I'm curious how they think that would work. OP says, yes. She said she would sleep on the sofa. Maybe one night crashing on the sofa this size is doable, but not for a few weeks.
Yes.
Or on the floor, which would mean trampling her if we went to get water / go to the bathroom in the night and have to step over her in the morning to get coffee, etc. Where this is not just enough space. I can't even do yoga / stretches inside because we have no floor space.
Dude, you need to move somewhere else, man. Hot take. The real issue is that you need to find a new place to live.
Maybe they're just saving up. Again, you're living in somewhere that doesn't seem it's very comfortable, even for one person. So home is where the heart is. And I get it. You're getting stressed out. And there's another note here from OP. There is a cultural difference. Her family is different to mine and would often have much more communal living. But she knows that this is different for me. A commenter, which is again also says downvoted, I understand the space is small, but you're expecting her to drop her cultural norms to fit yours? Don't you see that's a bit ironic? OP states, I don't think it is as simple as asking her to drop her cultural norms. We live in a very Western lifestyle together, as does her sister. I think her bringing up that it's normal for them to live more communally is unfair. Her family and our living / work situations are entirely different. They don't live in tiny one-bed flats. If I visit her country, I would be expected to adapt to fit in with their lifestyle. And then we have another update.
These are all solutions. I'm still sticking to my hot take.
I mean, you can't just, okay, let's change our place and...
No, change your place.
Okay, well, you can't change your place. So what's your next solution?
All right. Whatever OP said earlier.
You can stay for like maybe a night, maybe 2 nights.
Any more than that, you're going to burn out the workhorse.
Yeah, it's not fair that this was not communicated to you, OP, and it should have been communicated and not, just kind of thrown under the bus. Update. Then this is the next day. I measured the couch they had planned for her to sleep on, which I told them isn't big enough. It's 4'5" in length. She is 5'5". There is not enough floor space for an air mattress or anything like that. It is simply not feasible. To everyone who felt this was a deal breaker / relationship ender, that's kind of insane based on the above information. Yes. I agree with those who suggested that she was upset about any obstacles limiting her plan, and that she was somewhat blinded by excitement to the reality of our situation. I get that. I've done similar in the past. I don't think she was intentionally manipulating me. I think she was upset and wanted to express that. I get it. She apologized for making me feel bad. I accepted the reality of our living situation and is trying to find workarounds. And you know what you can do? You can find us live 3 p.m. EST every weekday on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, Twitch. Just tap that profile.
Tap it, tap, tap.
There is another relevant update, but
disagreement that he's trying to find the best solution for. No need to break up.
No, none of that. I think he also gets where she was coming from. She was just so blinded by excitement. Like, oh, sister's coming. Like, yes, yay. But he's like, baby, be realistic.
Baby, she got nowhere to sleep, baby.
She ain't sleeping with us. We don't even have room to sleep. It seems
Yeah.
I think the solution is like, again, go to a nearby hostel, hotel, somewhere nearby. If she needs to crash on the couch, which is not even logistical, 1 night, 2 night. It's clear that communication is really key in relationships. Had there been clear communication prior, this whole situation could have been avoided. The reason I came to Reddit rather than talk with her more is because she was traveling for around 24 hours and she was offline. To those who suggested we talk without judgment and just try and understand where both sides were coming from, thank you. This is the way.
He just wanted to hear that. That's all he needed.
I guess he just wanted to speak it and like wanted to get someone's advice and like, what should I do? And yeah, no, you're reasonable. I don't think you're an a-hole. I think, again, communication is what was missing here, but it was hard to communicate, like you said. I think your best thing is like, hey, maybe you can help find them a place or find your sister a place to get, around the corner, and then maybe go have a good dinner with her and your partner.
And that's the end of that story.
I refuse to lend my camper to my sister, even though they desperately need it. You know what would fix your problems? Not going camping. My sister and her husband fell on hard times because of the pandemic. They went from renting a nice house to having to rent a room from a friend. It was supposed to be temporary, but they've been in his house for an entire year. And he didn't have more than one room to spare to rent them. By the way, this comes from Uncle Victor Throwaway on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I have a family of my own and my house is full, so I don't want them living with me, but I have a vintage camper trailer in my backyard. One of those small ones they call a canned ham type. It's had various repairs over the years, including redoing the flooring and ceiling, as well as getting a new axle. And it's in pretty decent condition for being over 50 years old. Wow. I take this camper on yearly trips with friends and on camping trips with my family, and I'm very anal about its upkeep. My sister, though, has asked to borrow the camper numerous times to put it in her friend's backyard so her teenage son could have some privacy and use it as a personal bedroom. But I know my nephew. He's destructive with everything and would turn my camper into a total mess. I imagine that he is so destructive that they want to put him outside. They're buying him a doghouse. He's not potty trained. And I'm certain they wouldn't want to give it back whenever I need it because he'd already be living in it. I know they can't simply go out and get a camper of their own because ones in usable conditions are not cheap. And right now they're trying to save every extra dime to get back on their own feet. Recently, my sister has gotten our parents involved and they think I should lend them the camper, but I've refused. They won't let up and seem to think that if they keep hounding me as a collective, that I'll give in. But I haven't.
No way, Jose.
Don't give in to them. But my wife is on my side and has refused to let my sister and brother-in-law in when I wasn't home. They have a vehicle that can tow the camper. Ooh, they could steal it. So I don't trust them not to take it if they can get in my backyard. My house also has cameras, and my sister and brother-in-law are aware of them now. They say I'm the a-hole because I only use the camper a few times a year. And they need it now. But I worry that they wouldn't want to give it back, much less return it in the same condition.
They are going to squat in your camper and turn it into a tornado-ravaged town.
There's not even going to be pieces left of your camper.
There's going to be nothing left except maybe some little red sparkly shoes.
I firmly believe I'm in the right. But with my parents and the sister constantly breathing down my neck, I thought I'd come here for an unbiased opinion. Am I the a-hole for not lending them the camper? And info, I did suggest they get my nephew a tent.
Put him outside.
But they shot the idea down and called a tent temporary. If anything, that just felt like another red flag to me. And more info, our parents don't live close anymore. They moved several states away to retire a few years ago. There is an update. What is wrong with this child? Why did you need to make him live outside? Why is a tent even an option?
Because he's a Tasmanian devil kid. He literally has not been trained. He's a feral child that's foaming at the mouth, that's like squatting over the sink to take his dumps. Like, this is not someone you want in a civilized area.
I showed my sister and brother-in-law this post after getting the verdict. My parents have seen it as well. They are all very unhappy with me, but my parents have backed off and say they won't bother me with it again. I also spoke with my sister alone and went through the rough estimates of what possible repairs to the camper would be should my nephew damage it. My sister was not happy to see those numbers. Then I called her out on how they'd likely not want to return the camper when I need it. But they also tried to come to my house when I wasn't home to take it without permission. And I told her I'd have no problem calling the police if they ever try that. My sister still tried to say her son needs the camper. But I went through the comments on this post with her. She became incredibly embarrassed and then got very angry. She left saying she won't bother me for the camper anymore, but still stated she thinks I'm a jerk. I didn't reply because I knew she was waiting to gaslight me. Just waved her goodbye and she left. My brother-in-law called me shortly after to yell at me, but he had no leg to stand on other than they want it. I told him I'd contribute $100 for a tent, but they're on their own for the rest. They actually agreed to the $100. So I guess my nephew is getting a tent to live in. He's living in a tent! I'm sorry if mom and dad told you that you can't live inside anymore and you have to live in a tent. You're telling me that you wouldn't come on this podcast 10 years later and say, they made me live in a tent. You'd be shocked. I'd like to thank everyone here for all their great advice. You gave me what I needed to end this problem. And there is an update.
John, you've been dancing a lot.
I'm going to give you a live demonstration and you're going to see it too.
Show me those hips. Oh, damn. That is a good move. But you know what is also an amazing move?
What is that, Sam?
Becoming an OK Storytime member.
Yeah, that's freaking right. We have 60 plus hours of exclusive live streams on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays.
It's only $5 a month, so go to the link in our description, youtube.com/OKOP show/join.
Well, let's get back to the story.
Hi, everyone. A few days ago, I saw an animation of my old post, so I've come here instead. I just want to say that things seemed to get better after I made my sister and brother-in-law give up on borrowing my camper. If they'd gotten their hands on it, I likely wouldn't have got it back anytime soon, short of getting the police or a lawyer involved. They even tried to show up at my house to take the camper while I wasn't home.
They don't own the camper, yet they're claiming that they need the camper for the son that they're putting in a tent.
Yeah, presumably the son has a room in the house. But I showed my last post to my sister, brother-in-law, and parents, and they were furious at me, but let go of the fact that my camper was not up for grabs out of sheer humiliation and embarrassment, especially after I brought up the amount of money that could end up being owed to me in repairs should they or my nephew damage the camper. That part made my sister extra sore at me. I thought we closed the books on this whole mess, but it seems closing one book only opened another one. Things went downhill very badly a bit over a month after my original post. So badly, I couldn't believe it was really happening. And yet it did. Many here may not believe it either, but it did happen. Some wondered if my sister and brother-in-law were going to actually use the $100 I gave them to get my nephew a tent to have his own space in the backyard. I admit I had my doubts, but they followed through on getting him one. Our parents sent them some money as well, and they got my nephew a good-sized tent so that he can have a cot to sleep on and a small amount of simple furniture. I personally donated the cot as I had an old Coleman. I gave him a folding camping chair too. The boy got electricity in the tent via an extension cord from the main house. That tent is hooked up. However, he frequently complained about the heat during the day and only had a couple of those little Suedo air conditioners that you can just put water in to keep his tent cool. Why is he there all day? Though honestly, I doubt the situation would have been any different if he had my camper, because it can get pretty hot inside of it too. Now on to what happened a bit over a month later. My sister and brother-in-law were evicted from their friend's house. Apparently, while there was trouble with my nephew needing his own space and being messy and defiant, they were having more trouble with the friend who was also their landlord. They tried to smooth things over by putting their son in the tent so he wouldn't be in the house much to avoid trouble. I suppose that might have worked had my sister and brother-in-law not been caught with illegal substances. And I mean the very bad ones. The kind that use a syringe. Their friend/landlord went into their room while they were away and found their stash. That's why they were evicted. So it wasn't even the son's fault. They're probably blaming all that stuff on the son. Suddenly, it made sense why in 2 years they couldn't have afforded a small apartment to move in despite both of them working full-time. Their extra cash just went right to their habits instead of saving it like they claimed to have been doing. Looking back, they did look a bit more unhealthy at the time, but I assumed it due to stress. Now I feel really bad for this kid. Like, not only does he have to live in a tent, but, his parents are going through a lot as well. And not long after being outed, their habits put them behind bars. People who are on heavy substances can go very wild in an instant.
That is true.
And that's exactly what happened when their friend/landlord gave them an eviction notice for having found the substances in his house. My sister and brother-in-law both got physical with him, and he called the police. That scared them, and they locked themselves in the rented room. Meanwhile, my nephew was blissfully unaware of what was happening as he was just gaming alone in his tent. The friend/landlord pressed charges, and police soon arrested my sister and brother-in-law because there were indoor security cameras that caught the whole altercation. I was very surprised about what happened when I heard about it. I got a call from the police station, and I was asked to take in my nephew since he could no longer stay where he was. This was all a ploy to get that nephew in the camper. Since our parents are states away and living in a retirement community, they couldn't take him in. So it was up to me, and I did so. I wasn't particularly fond of my nephew, but I realized his upbringing really did not help our relationship, nor did the fact that my sister and I don't really get along. We brought his tent over to my place and set it up in my backyard. He's still living in it, even though we cleared the attic out for him. Okay, so you've offered him an actual place to live.
I mean, it's an attic. Is that much better than Harry Potter's little under the cupboard?
But he says he likes the tent better because it feels like his own little house where he can just be himself.
So how good is the attic if the tent is better?
We've even added a mini fridge I bought used in there for him so he could have cold drinks when he wants them. Currently, we're still working on becoming my nephew's permanent legal guardians. My sister and brother-in-law are both facing heavy charges. They attacked a man, resisted arrest, and were in possession of illegal substances. From jail, though, they've actually been very cooperative, albeit while dealing with withdrawal from no longer being able to self-medicate. I've been able to see my sister, and she said she and her husband were so out of it on the day it happened, they don't even remember attacking their friend. I don't know if they're faking memory loss to try and get a lesser punishment, or if they really were that high. But I suppose it doesn't matter. It changes nothing since there was CCTV showing the attack. They are looking into possibly getting a plea deal when they go to court in November. But even with that, they may be in prison until their son is over 18 at least. I didn't have the heart to risk the foster system on my nephew. My wife has had my back on this too, and we've been working as a team. The circumstances have changed so drastically from the beginning of the story, and OP has really, really risen here. My sister and brother-in-law have signed over the title to their SUV to me, and the plan is to make it my nephew's vehicle when he gets older, since he'll be 18 in 3 years. Or we can sell it to get him something that uses a lot less fuel. I already had to pay to get the SUV back from police impound. That's money I know I'm never going to get back. When my sister and brother-in-law get out of prison in a few years, they're not exactly going to have much to their name. So taking care of their son and making sure he grows up in a better environment feels like the least I can do. I mean, you are doing a huge thing for this kid. For those wondering about the substances, it wasn't entirely out of left field. My sister was especially troubled in her teenage years and struggled in her early 20s with the same substances. She nearly got kicked out of college for it. Our parents always dug her out of the mire and helped her back on her feet. They even paid for her rehab. We all thought she'd been clean for a long time, but she admitted to me when I visited her in jail that her husband also had the same addiction issues. That's actually how they met. Not in rehab, but in a focus group after the rehab. They did not admit this to any of us until recently. Not sure why. But with the stress they faced in the past 2 years, falling back into old habits became easy for them. I've tried checking up on their former landlord to ask if he was okay, for he wants nothing to do with my family. He had some pretty offensive things to say when I went over to gather my sister and brother-in-law's stuff once the police gave me the okay. And the man actually threatened to pull a weapon on me while I was carrying out boxes. He said he thinks my family are all alike, a bunch of filthy white trash C words.
Oh, that's not too good.
So I don't feel as sorry for him as I did, since he's a pretty big jerk. My nephew also confirmed this. My kids weren't exactly receptive to their cousin being around them. There's a bit of an age gap between them, and they just don't relate to one another. And while my nephew is messy, we make him clean his tent once a week, and we make him shower at least 2 to 3 times a week.
I just think it's so weird that he's cleaning his tent.
We live in a warmer climate, but now that the seasons are changing, it's cooling down a little bit to where he says the tent isn't so bad. He's got a tablet, a laptop, a DVD player, and a Nintendo Switch to occupy his time.
Everything a growing boy needs right there.
But we keep these things in the house whenever my nephew isn't home. It's way easier to steal out of a tent than a house, after all. Considering how angry my nephew was before, he rarely shows his temper now. Yes, he makes it hard to get him to do his chores, but as a whole, he's shown more improvement in a couple months than I saw in 3 years. Of course. I mean, he's not around parents who are actively using substances.
I'm surprised he's turned out as good as he has.
He is extremely grateful, but also very solitary. We give him his space most of the time, and I make sure my kids don't bother him either. He's going through a lot right now. My nephew plays a lot of Zelda and Fortnite. At least those are 2 of the games he plays that I know of. My kids love those games too. We've also given my nephew the old 10-speed road bike I used to use years ago. He rides it to and from school as we live about a mile away from the local high school. Thus far, most of the drama from him has been school-related. He had to change to a different high school and make new friends, which he wasn't particularly happy about. He really doesn't like doing his homework, and he's been fighting with his teachers, but that's a problem many parents face on the regular. He says he's made a few new friends, though, and I'm thankful for that. We're taking things one step at a time, and so far it's slowly been getting better. My nephew has also talked of one day getting a part-time job. For the record, he brought this up.
How is he such a good kid? Being raised by addicts that seem to not be taking care of him at all. He lives in a tent. He is incredibly well adjusted for being a tent child.
For the record, he brought this up, not me or my wife. He says he needs to be ready to be independent when he's 18, but we wouldn't kick him out just for getting older. He's one of our kids now too, after all. What a wild turn. You know what? If this story doesn't end with this kid getting the camper, I don't want it.
He just needs to win. I don't know if he even wants the camper. I think he likes his tent.
How funny would it be if OP's like, hey, you know what? I thought you're growing up, thought the camper would be great. And the son's like, thank you so much. And he gets in the camper and he just drives off. And the parents, they jump out of the bushes and they're like, pranked. And they steal the camper. And it's all been a ploy.
I just want to give the kid a bigger tent. I think that's what he needs.
I think he needs a room, maybe. But if he's willing to work hard and move on to working full-time or going to college, we'll encourage him. I just don't want him ending up like either of his parents. He seems to be far better off mentally without their influence now anyway. It makes me regret not wanting to take him in sooner. But I didn't know how bad things really were. To think this all started because my sister and brother-in-law wanted my camper for their son. And those of you who said they potentially wanted it to skip town if they'd gotten a hold of it, you may very well have been right. They were on thin ice with their landlord and falling even deeper into substance use. Thus far, though, my nephew has been completely indifferent to the camper, even though his tent is practically right next to it. He says as long as he has his own space, he's fine. Reminds me of when I was his age. I enjoyed hanging out and spending nights in the old shed my parents made into a playhouse for me and my sister when we were kids.
You know what? Yeah. Is a tent that much different than a treehouse?
Yes, because he's living full time in this.
Every kid's 80s dream is to live full time in a treehouse, you know?
I'm sorry, did he read the Boxcar Kids and he was like, that's what I want?
Maybe. It sounds like he's a very outdoorsy young lad.
But we are still required to have a room at the ready for my nephew whenever a social worker checks up on us.
So it's like you're worried about a social worker seeing this kid's tent and taking him away from you.
Imagine the freaking social worker comes and sees this kid in a tent and they're like, no, No, he loves his tent. I swear he loves his tent. He has the bulk of his stuff in the attic room, but chooses to stay in the tent, which the social worker didn't seem to mind since it was my nephew's preferred place to hang out, so long as an actual room was available to him. We also have a 7-foot-tall privacy fence all around the backyard and cameras too. That helps my nephew feel safe back there at least. So for now, I think we have it all covered. By the way, you can have us covered by listening to full episodes with stories just like this. Just go to OK Storytime on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app. And there is a little bit left to this story, so we're just going to run it.
I say we roll straight on into it.
I probably won't update again, as it's pretty much a guarantee my sister and brother-in-law are going to be locked up for a few years. Our parents are especially mad at them about it and have thanked me to no end for taking my nephew in. They want to fly over to visit this Christmas so we can all spend time as a big family for the first time since before the pandemic. And before I go, I know some are probably going to ask, where's brother-in-law's family in all of this? Couldn't they help? Why didn't my sister and brother-in-law ask them for help? Well, the answer is they couldn't. I don't know a lot, but brother-in-law spent the latter half of his own childhood in the foster system. His family aren't in his life. I don't know who they are or where they are. He hated them so much that he actually took my family name when he married my sister, so they aren't involved whatsoever with my nephew. And that is the end of this story. My sister refuses to support my wedding, yet I'm blamed for causing family drama? What? Am I the a-hole for not wanting any contact with my sister after her behavior? So there's a big age gap between my sister and myself of over 13 years. We are not the only two siblings though, but the other one is a lot older than me as well, with my sister being the oldest. By the way, this comes from Constant Weather 315, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OKStorytime subreddit. She got married approximately 12 years ago, and not long after getting engaged, she asked me to be the maid of honor. I said I would love to, and I was happy to pay for anything I could, which included the dress that she chose, which was not flattering at all on a larger person like myself. But at the end of the day, it was not my day, so I wore it and gritted my teeth. We threw her a bridal shower, which she requested, and she had given us a checklist of what she wanted done. She lived only 2 hours away, but was in town for it. Instead of coming to her very own bridal shower that was thrown for her out of mine and our family's expenses, she never even turned up and decided to go shopping instead, but still demanded all the gifts. There was about 30 people there, which were some of her school friends and family, and no bride. As I make jewelry, I offered to make the jewelry for the wedding for all of the bridesmaids, but she already had her own jewelry. 2 nights before the wedding, she changed her mind as to the color of the beads. I didn't have a license, so I had to get a taxi to the next town as there were no buses in order to buy beads to race home and remake 3 full sets of jewelry that were each custom to the bridesmaids' measurements. At the wedding, she received a few compliments about the jewelry that the bridesmaids were wearing, and people asked her where she bought them from. Her exact words were, "I got them from some lady at the market. I think she was new and a bit mentally special, so I thought I would buy them from her to give her a sale." And that's when I would step in and be like, "Ha, she's joking. She bought them from me."
We're not doing that.
Who is this?
We're not doing that.
My blood was boiling after that. Please keep in mind, I had market stalls every fortnight and my jewelry was quite popular. 2 weeks before the wedding, I'm shopping with my mom and I receive a phone call saying that I had been removed as maid of honor because the flower girl, who was about 6 at the time, needed a handler, even though both her parents were at the wedding and she was family. I was told that she had somebody else from church that wanted my dress and my shoes, as well as my purse and all my accessories that I paid for out of my own pocket, because she was taking over my position. And I was in charge of making sure the flower girl went to the toilet. When I got upset, my mom took the phone and told her that I had been asked to be the maid of honor over 2 years ago and she can't change it right before the wedding after I paid for everything out of my own pocket just so I could take the flower girl to the toilet. I would literally drop out of the wedding. I'd be like, no.
My mouth would be all the way at the floor, at the utter
audacity.
The audacity.
Fast forward to the night before the wedding when I caught the bus 2 hours away where she lived, and I have arrived at the venue and set up, and we do rehearsals and everything, only to be told by the other bridesmaid that they had a fantastic hen night the night before. Nothing but a hen's event was ever mentioned to me, and when I brought it up, I was told she didn't want it. I found out they spent the whole day at a spa getting massages and their nails done and their hair done, but they were told that I didn't want to participate as I didn't have the money. This was a blatant lie. You freaking paid for most of this wedding.
Ugh.
So frustrating.
Why are they so gross?
Our mom went down to spend a week with her before the wedding and took a whole week off work without pay to help her prep for the wedding. And for that whole week, she was treated as a house cleaner. Instead of prepping everything with mom was treated as a house cleaner and expected to clean while she went shopping with her boss for all of her wedding things. Day of the wedding comes around and we are pushed aside for everything, including helping her get ready so her boss and her other bridesmaids could do it for us. We were not included once, and it was made known that we were both an inconvenience to her and her big day. It rained during the photos, and her stepdaughter was a junior bridesmaid who did nothing but cause trouble for the entire wedding. Please keep in mind that she has a full police record and is known to be trouble. During the photos, she started pulling out her hair from the upstyle, and I told her that she needed to stop because the photos were not done, and at the end of the reception, her hair can come out, and I'll happily help her take out all the bobby pins once all of the main events had finished. She was about 14 at the time, I think.
Oh, good luck.
As we're walking back, I was with one of the grooms who had been talking, and I heard a massive scream from about 4 meters away. She yelled and told my sister that I had pushed her into mud face first in her dress, to which my sister believed her, even though the groomsman that was with me said I was nowhere near her. I was then repeatedly yelled at all after doing into the evening in front of everybody because I had supposedly pushed her. My sister ignored me the whole evening, even though she was sitting right next to me. Just before the newlyweds were leaving the reception, our mom took the flower girl to the toilet. I told my sister not to go for at least 10 minutes as mom was not there and she wanted to be there to see them off. My sister took this as the opportunity to leave the reception while mom was away.
Okay, so
She just hates you guys.
to be clear though, like if someone accuses you of basically like battery, like at the wedding and you didn't do it, like you need to make it clear, like, hey, I didn't do that.
And you have proof.
And like it's kind of concerning that she is trying to make it
You think I pushed a 14-year-old into mud?
like we need to have some kind of sit down about that.
She was gone no more than 5 minutes and came out to find both newlyweds already in a car going down the highway. Mom was devastated. Now fast forward a few years later to when I got engaged. My sister and I haven't really ever been on great terms due to the age gap and being from 2 separate generations. Then mom told me that she had to be my maid of honor because she's my only sister and I was her maid of honor. I asked her to, which she said fine. I went out just after I got engaged with mom looking at dresses and trying to gather a price range for a budget.
To be clear, that's not the kind of response that you want.
Yeah, she was like,
can I be your maid of honor? She's like, fine. It's like, okay, wait, never mind.
I didn't expect to find my dress that day and I fell in love with it. I invited her on a weekend to have a look at the dress as I wanted to include her even though I was never included in her wedding. I booked an hour appointment at the bridal store. I literally went in to try my dress on and came out in this beautiful princess fluffy white dream gown, and she looks at me up and down once and then turns her back on me to look for another wedding dress for herself because she was apparently going to renew her vows a couple of years later. We stayed there in disbelief for about 5 minutes because she couldn't give anyone but herself a speck of attention for 1 second in her life. We were going from there to the other bridal store in town where I found the bridal dresses that I loved. They were simple yet elegant and they would not be expensive. Actually, they were less than half the price of what I spent on my bridesmaid dress for her wedding. Very flattering as she was larger like myself. They had wider straps so proper bras could be worn, as I know strapless bras are very uncomfortable. They were very flowy and elegant but very simple with a colored sash just under the bust. It was about a 2-minute walk and she said she would meet us there. We waited at the store for over 2 hours for her and her stepdaughter to arrive. We found out that they went back to the other store to try on wedding gowns and left us without telling us because that was more important. I said she saw the dress and she told me that it was terrible and she would never wear it. We messaged each other over the next few months as well as the other bridesmaids discussing dresses, and she objects to matching the other bridesmaids and wants a dress of her own. That's not how it works. That's not how it works.
This is just the most outrageously difficult. Like what? Like why are we even entertaining?
Why are you even allowing her to be here? Her requirements are ball gown, rhinestones, or bling from the waist up, as well as corseted back and long sleeves.
So almost wedding dress.
This is not going to happen. She also does not like my dress and demands that I drive over 2 hours for a week so we can go try on bridal dresses until I find one that she approved of because my dress wasn't good enough. And that's when you say, no, it's not your wedding.
Not your wedding.
Oh, that's so nice because you don't actually have to wear it. I simply say thank you, but no. And I have found my dress and I'm not interested in trying others on. She strings me along for months until it gets to 4 months before the wedding and the week that the dress needs to be ordered by in order for them to be here for the wedding. I get a text saying that she will no longer be part of the wedding because I'm a control freak and a dictator. Another friend of mine stood in for her and bought the dress the next day and was my matron of honor. Come to the day of the wedding and she offers to be an usher, so she's still involved. I say fine and thank you. I come to find out that she has told everybody at the wedding that I had thrown her out of the wedding party because I'm a dictator and she wouldn't conform. This is a lie. And I searched for months to find another dress we both liked, but because it didn't have her criteria, nothing was suitable. I received so many dirty looks at the wedding and the reception for what I had supposedly done to my sister, including many rude remarks. The wedding was a disaster for the most part, as I found out my husband was having an affair on the wedding day. Ugh.
Oh,
And also turned out to be a on the first day of the honeymoon. We were divorced 2 years later.
Oh, no.
2 years.
Oh, God.
2
I thought the sister was
years.
going to be the worst part of this story. That's terrible.
After that, I swear I would never date again, and then walked in the love of my life. He asked me a year later to marry him, and I eventually said yes.
Wow, that's got to be crazy when you think you're in the fourth act, but you're really in the first act.
Yeah. When I was talking to Mom about our wedding, she told me the same thing, that I had to ask my sister to be my matron of honor again, even after everything she did the time before.
Stop it.
And this is when you say no. And this is when you say, she caused a lot of trouble. No.
No, Mama.
This time, no, she didn't string me along for almost a year. She said no about 2 weeks later. I did not want to wear white, and she objected to that because I refused to wear ivory. Instead, I wore gold, and it was hands down a stunning dress. It was actually a prom dress that I had found that at a bridal store custom made to fit me for less than $1,000. Nice. The requirements for her dress were that it had to be floor length with long sleeves and a high neck, but covered in bling and rhinestones. This was never what I had envisioned, and I told her that in a kind way. And I also did not know the websites that she demanded to buy them from because I had never heard of them. And when searching for them, they only had a few horror reviews. This was the final straw, and she straight away checked out and didn't want any part of it. We hadn't spoken in months because I simply do not appreciate being bossed around and made to feel half an inch tall like I'm nothing. We went to the restaurant for Christmas lunch, to which we had booked out our reception for. Now her husband is not a very nice man, and in fact he makes it publicly known that he hates me for reasons I have no idea why, as I've never done anything to him. He ridiculed me and mocked me for hours, to the point people at the tables around us followed me inside to see if I was okay. When I came back out, my sister said to me, "So is this the venue you're having for your reception and how you're having the tables?" I explained to her that she'll be sitting next to Mom and next to my brother. She looked puzzled and asked where her husband would fit. I simply said that if he's behaving the way he is today, then I don't want him there to ruin our wedding. Finally, stand up for yourself.
Let's go.
She lost her crap, and my fiance and I ended up sitting at a different table because I couldn't take the any longer. Keep in mind that I can't handle confrontations, so I don't retaliate. She doesn't speak to me for about 6 months. I did send her an invitation to the wedding and had its signature upon delivery, so I had proof that they'd received it, but I addressed it only to her. About 4 weeks go past, and I never heard anything. We decided to do an invitation-only group on Facebook to keep everybody updated on the wedding, to let them know if there was a change or anything due to it being around the vid. Within 2 minutes of sending her invitation, she clicked decline, and I never heard from her for months after that. Now, because of her behavior, I blocked her on social media. I didn't want anyone that couldn't be supportive of us to be able to view our wedding video as we posted online, because we had a few relatives that could not attend because of vid lockdowns across the state. Now, the wedding night comes around and we didn't do reception because of how humiliating it was on Christmas with being mocked and all the staff hearing it. So instead, we just did a dinner with the bridal party and our parents at the venue. My sister called up my mom at the dinner demanding I unblock her from Facebook so she could watch the video full stop. Please keep in mind, this was a wedding she didn't care about, and she just wanted to abuse me for things we had done and make it known how she could have done better. I ended up unblocking her because my mother threw a tantrum in front of everybody because my sister is the golden child of the family and nothing she could ever do is wrong. But it wouldn't be wrong of you to listen to full episodes of stories just like this.
That's right.
Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime.
That's right. And if you don't, I'll throw a tantrum.
But man, oh man, there's a little bit left to this story. Jeez, freaking
why are we bending to the mother who's also stop bending?
Your mom, meanie.
You must
your
be
sister's
strong,
a meanie.
like oak.
Don't bend the knee.
It's your wedding. Stop letting people boss you around, especially when they clearly don't have your best interests in heart. Your mom says, you have to have your sister as your maid of honor.
No.
Period.
No.
I don't, actually. But she's your sister.
No.
Yeah, I mean, but I'm not gonna.
No.
That's not right. I guess you can feel that way. I refuse choose to accept this. That's crazy because it's not going to change.
And there you go. You got yourself a script right there. My sister and I barely speak till this day, but I keep getting told that I'm ruining the family before because I don't want any contact after what she put me through. On the rare occasion she speaks to me, it's normally thrown in my face that I failed my first marriage and how I'm supposedly punted her out of both weddings, which I did not do. I'm sick of being made out to be a nasty and vindictive person for things I never did. Our mother keeps telling me that I'm tearing her family apart because I won't speak to my sister. She never speaks to me anyway, and I can count on one hand the amount of times we have spoken in the last year alone. Comment 1, OMG woman, stop being a doormat to your mom and your sister.
And
yes.
the angels sing.
You are, by my count, at least 30 years old, and in your second marriage, they're not treating you like an adult, and you're letting them. It is high time that you start living your life and start making your decisions, and stop asking for their approval and their help. These two need to be kept at a safe distance of at least 100 miles. Comment 2, it's a good idea to keep no contact with your sister, but I also go low contact at the least with Mummy Dearest. Your mom keeps advocating for her and defending her because she's your sister. No. She's a problematic, self-absorbed POS, and your mom seems fine with you being treated that way by her. You deserve better. Your sister hurt you, and your mom also keeps hurting you because you're standing up for yourself.
Yeah.
F that. As for that dig about your last relationship, they're disgusting. You aren't tearing the family apart. She's tearing you apart.
Tearing me apart, Lisa.
And OP responds, I've had a long conversation with my mom today and explained even more about abuse my sister has done to me that she wasn't aware of. Only touching the tip of the iceberg, really. She has agreed to back off and let me make the decision. She isn't happy, but she has accepted it. My husband and I have both agreed to cut my sister and her husband out of our lives till she can learn mutual respect and see myself as an adult, which she clearly doesn't do. I am not 2 and actually in my mid-30s. It's very easy for the question, why didn't I leave sooner? Why accept the abuse? I didn't have a support system until now, so I was stuck. And that is the end of that story.
Dang. I hope OP
But you're
can
not
learn
stuck
from
now.
those comments.
Leave them.
Yeah.
Leave them.
Truly, it is never too late to make changes in your life that are positive, and
Too late to cut the people out that
it's unfortunate that it's your mom and your sister, but the reality of the situation is
you've got the love of your life.
Yeah, you found the family that you chose.
Exactly.
So if the family that you were born into is going to be a negative impact in your life consistently and incessantly,
Consider them cut.
consider them mocked.
Consider them mocked. But that is the end of that story.
I made sure there weren't any photos of my sister at my wedding because she's so self-centered.
Wipe her from existence.
Wipe. Hey everyone. I thought I would give some context before going into the am I the a-hole situation. Me, 28 female, and my sister, now 32 female, never saw eye to eye and never really got along as I'm not a very selfish person and don't like being the center of attention, but she's the complete opposite. She's loud, she has to be the center of attention, and everything has to be about her. And if you're not talking about her, helping her, or the day is mainly about her, she would not be interested.
She sounds delightful.
She sounds like the best person in the world. See, I'm talking about her, so she's probably happy.
Yeah, she's probably like, wow.
Wow.
All news is good news.
Isn't he a dreamboat?
Yeah.
By the way, this comes from user BrilliantBase597 on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, I know this sounds mean, but I blame my grandparents as she was the firstborn. They did a lot for her, bought her stuff, she had her own room at theirs, and when she was 16, they bought her a new car and paid her to travel the world when she was 18.
Damn. Honestly, as a parent, I'm not buying my children their own car, like a new car.
Oh, a
at
new
16.
car? No. Like a used car, maybe?
Then the used car, maybe. My mom just gave me, she had her car from 2006, and then it went to Sam, and then it went to me.
Yeah, that's how it usually works.
Which I think I just don't think I want to give a 16-year-old who doesn't know how to drive yet a brand new car that they might damage.
And you're spoiling them way too much. But that's usually the thing. Usually the firstborn is going to be spoiled, especially the firstborn and out of if you have like aunts, uncles, or what have you, the firstborn out of everyone is going to be the most spoiled.
Yeah.
It seems like the sister here is the most spoiled.
Yeah.
I was the firstborn in my family.
So you were the most spoiled.
I was the most spoiled. Because she was spoiled by them, that's my reason she's the way she is now. It's sad, really, because she will never change. When she was 18 plus, she would drink nearly every weekend and come back loud, waking everyone up, as 18-year-olds do. But she did this till she was 30 years old, and I sometimes think she's still a young teen, as she doesn't act like a 32-year-old woman and would have spicy sleep so loudly, keeping everyone awake, which is just disgusting to hear.
In her family's house?
She's 32 and she's still at home?
I don't know, but regardless of, I mean, like, it's fine if she's at home, but like, keep it down, man.
Have some respect.
Have some respect.
For yourself and for, you know, for the others around you. Through the years, my other sisters started to dislike how she was, and we all started to tolerate her as we don't trust her / can't see eye to eye with her personality, as me and my 2 other sisters are very similar, and we get along like besties. When it came to her 30th birthday, she decided to celebrate her birthday and have a party on my birthday.
What? Are your birthdays close?
I was gonna say, I need context here.
Yeah, I need to know how close your birthday is, because if your birthday's in like January and her birthday's in June, and she's just like,
Weird.
well, I just think it's best if
It's a birthday year, not a birthday month.
Yeah, I just think it's better if we celebrate like me all year round.
Yeah, I was so upset and angry as I planned to have dinner with my family, but she sent invites out to all the family and her friends, apart from me and my now husband, because she knew I would say no.
Why did anyone accept that? Why did anybody accept that invitation when they knew who your birthday was?
Yeah, those are your real family members right there. Like, who accepted this? I was so shocked how everyone was fine with it and didn't say anything about it. Her birthday is a month before mine.
That's crazy. No one said anything?
Was it okay, I need more context. Was it the day of? Was it like the weekend of? It sounds like it's the day of. Based on the
writing, it sounds like it's day of.
Like, what the actual F was going through her mind? If I had my birthday party on her birthday, she would have gone crazy and probably most likely had a hissy fit like a little kid. I confronted her on it, and all she said is that it's her birthday when it wasn't. She was already 30 and could have our summer party, but decided to have an autumn party? She said I could go, but couldn't make it about me, and I would need to buy a cake if I wanted people to sing happy birthday to me, which I was like, heck no! My husband, a lovely man, surprised me with a weekend trip for my birthday instead, as I had no family behind me, only him, which I felt very sad, but I just realized all I wanted was my husband. My 2 sisters messaged me saying we sang happy birthday to you and they wish I was there. I couldn't. It would be weird celebrating my sister's birthday when it was my actual birthday. Now you have a bit of context regarding how she is. It came to my husband and I's wedding, and during the planning, I didn't want my oldest sister part of our wedding, but because I've asked my other 2 sisters to be my bridesmaids, I had to ask her as my dad and mom was saying I was being mean and unreasonable.
No, it's your wedding.
Your wedding. Your wedding, your rules.
If she's allowed to make her birthday on your birthday, then you don't have to invite her, be a bridesmaid at your wedding.
Guess what? She's going to make it about her.
She's just going to steal it. She's just going to walk up the altar in a white dress and be like, oh.
I can see that. 100%.
It's my wedding now.
Yeah. Especially if she's doing it. It seems like she's doing it solely to this sister, to OP, not the other sisters. Yeah. I just didn't want my time / milestone to be taken away from me because of her. So I asked her eventually, but didn't want to. I didn't have a maid of honor as my friend, decided not to be friends with me anymore as I was close to another girl who was my colleague. But that is another story. When discussing to the photographer about pictures, I said, please, can we have less photos of her? And when it came to planning who was walking down the aisle first, as we were having the wedding at my dad's, the patio, you could fit about 5 to 6 people in the line, but there was 7, so she had to be around for a bit, so I knew it would be best for her to go down first. On the day, the videographer and photographer actually had to set up where she would stand so they can get shots of me and my husband, and me walking down the aisle. She got pissed off with them and made a scene saying they had to move, which they ignored, and she had to stand behind them, which she complained to everyone at the wedding.
Okay, so basically...
She just self-centered.
We already
OP
knew this. Set it up so that the videographer would be in front of her instead of behind her and getting her in the shots.
Yes.
So that they could, get shots of OP.
But you know what? You get shots of us every weekday. Just live at 3 p.m. PST.
Just tap her profile. Tap
Easy.
it. I don't think you've done anything wrong.
The fact that she was invited and she has to be such important parts of the wedding.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the fact that she got to be a bridesmaid at all, she needs to be okay with that.
I mean, the fact that you told the videographers and photographers, hey,
she's
literally red X. She's gonna make a scene at the wedding. I'm already calling it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I do feel like she might, but I think I don't think you're the a-hole for doing it.
When we were looking through the wedding photos with family, she made the first comment, which was, "I'm not in any photos." Great, you can't see me. Me. This went on for 30 minutes, which made me snap and said, who cares? It wasn't your wedding, wasn't your day, and at the end of the day, Did you enjoy yourself? Did you get dressed up and have fun? Why does it matter about photos? Why does it matter that you're not in the spotlight? You'll get your moment one day, just not now. Get used to it.
Yes. Nice. Snapped back.
Let's go,
Love
OP.
that. Love that.
The room went silent. My sister cried and walked off and called me a selfish bee. My mom stuck by her, and my aunt said she was being dramatic. Mom has a favorite, which is her life. Drama, and also I believe she is a narcissist. You believe she's a narcissist?
She may or may not be a narcissist. We're unsure.
Also, I believe she is a narcissist from the behavior she shows. How she is with our mom, it worries me. So am I the a-hole for doing that? I feel like it's a bit mean, but this is a years of rage building up, and this was my only way to control something she couldn't.
I mean, like, usually I always say, like, keep, if you have something to say, you don't have to necessarily do it in public in front of everyone. Just have a conversation with that person. But she's really annoying.
Where's dad in this?
I don't know. Because we know the mom's on the daughter's side, but
I don't think you're the a-hole.
Yeah.
Where's everybody else? They know she's self-centered. They know she's narcissistic. It seems like no one is really supporting you other than your husband.
Yeah, which kind of sucks. It's like maybe we have to limit contact with family members if they're going to keep making you feel bad about this.
If she's just so draining, bye.
And that's the end of that story.
That's the end of that story.
So we'll see you next time.
See ya.